Joe Rogan Podcast. Check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day. And we're up. Oh, hi, Tom Papa.
Oh, good to see you, Joe.
You are the man that brings the bags.
Ah,
You bring the brown paper bags.
Joe, I was so happy to bring you bread that I was in Colorado doing shows, flew home, had my wife feed the starter. I should have come right here, but
Feed the starter.
But I wouldn't have been able to bring you bread, so I flew home. This is so sick. I flew home just for 24 hours so I could bake the bread and then get back on a plane and bring it to you. But I feel like you haven't had it in so long.
You're the only one I'll eat bread from.
I know.
I'm not. I'm lying. I had a piece of bread this Saturday after the fights. I did have a piece of bread with butter. It's pretty damn good.
Well, I'm happy to do it, and I made one regular loaf. I'm not sure which is which, but one regular loaf and one olive loaf.
Ooh.
Which has green and Kalamata olives, lemon zest, and herbs de Provence. And I hadn't made that in probably a year, and the house was just filled with the smell of the bread. It was so great. And then flying here, the only thing in my carry-on was bread. Because it baked yesterday. Here, I'll let you open it with your hands.
My goodness.
And yeah, if
dense.
Jamie could get a piece of it, he would probably.
Did TSA check that hard, or was they cool with it?
It smells so good. It filled my hotel room up.
You could bake fentanyl in there.
Let me see which one that is. Does that have
I think
olives
it's
on
olives.
it? Yeah.
It's the olive one.
Doesn't that smell beautiful?
It does. It's so dense.
Yeah, it's a pretty heavy bread.
I was reading about a woman who got caught at the border. She had she's a pregnant lady,
Yeah.
and she had like a rubber container filled with fentanyl stuffed up her cooch.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Which, that stuff kills you if it's just a small amount.
Jeez.
Like, she had enough to kill everyone she's ever met.
Oh my God. What is fentanyl? That's
It's an opioid. It's an opioid that is highly, highly potent. It's
Jeez.
like hundreds of times more potent than heroin, I believe.
Jeez.
The amount of fentanyl that kills you is so small. There it is. Pregnant drug runner nabbed smuggling fentanyl in her vagina.
Looks like an egg.
Ay.
Like an eggplant?
Oh,
Like
it's like in a condom.
Yeah. She wrapped it in a condom, too.
Oh.
Look, it says, just say no to drugs on the
How did
ruler.
they discover that?
They fingered her.
Well,
it's
that's
the only
pretty.
way.
That's a random search,
Yeah, that is an interesting
right?
question.
Like, how did you pick
Well,
that
it's a
person out of the
quarter
line?
pound. She had a quarter
Voluntarily
pound.
removed it.
Because she's waddling through security.
19 years old and pregnant. 19-year-old
Oh.
U.S. citizen was flagged for secondary inspection.
Poor girl.
Well,
What is?
you know
why
what,
is,
man?
Why is she faced with that?
Yeah, she's fucking in a terrible situation.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
exactly. Just,
You know.
just gingerly walking through security. Oh,
It
it's
says,
terrible.
a drugs canine
different
dog alerted. Ruff. The dog's barking at her pussy.
Oh my God. Oh, it's
Oh, no.
terrible.
Oh, no.
Fentanyl. Well, I felt pretty high risk coming with the bread. It's literally my wheelie bag and these two big loaves of bread. You just smell it. I got on
Did people ask you? What's in the
No,
bag?
they didn't open it. They didn't open it.
No?
No. I
You
thought
look
they
like a safe guy.
Right. I should be getting fentanyl in my
Yeah.
wheelie bag. I thought that I was looking forward to it. I wanted the story of them like going through the bread and being like, it's
Imagine if
sourdough.
they cut it open, though.
Ooh.
Oh, you monsters.
You know what? That's a pretty good smuggling technique. Just sneak
Yeah.
stuff in the bread.
Right.
When you're putting in the olives, also put in the whatever.
Right. If you could have like something that's like got good thermal dynamics that you could like put in the center of the dough. Is that
Uh-huh.
the right word? Thermodynamics?
Sure.
Something that withstand heat
Right.
in the center of
You had
it.
to bake
like
it.
Some kind of screw down metal container that's like
Yeah.
insulated.
Uh-huh. Shove it in there.
What is this?
Like
Oh my
that.
God.
Look
They
at these
did it.
people smuggling booze and bread.
Oh, but that's like a loaf of
nice.
bread. Is that like at a stadium when they're going to see a game or something?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
hilarious.
You know, when I worked as a as a security guard, we used to always catch people smuggling booze into concerts.
Where we? Oh, it is.
Great Woods.
Uh-huh.
That was at Great Woods Center for the Performing Arts. It's in Mansfield, Massachusetts, and we would have garbage bales, like these big garbage cans, plastic garbage cans filled with booze the other night. No kidding. Because so many people brought booze, and then we'd have to search their bags.
Yeah.
We'd have to take the booze, and we just put it in their bucket. And and then we got to take it home. Like they would just give us the booze.
There's that thing in O'Hare. You've heard of that pot thing?
Yeah, you get to chuck the pot in there.
Yeah, you got to chuck your pot in there.
That's in Vegas too.
Oh,
Vegas
yeah?
has one of those.
It's on Chicago's. It's inside the security line though.
Right.
Like you're already past security, and then the amnesty bin is there.
Right.
Oh,
So it's
there's-
like if you got past it, now you.
Right.
Oh, it's up to you. Your free will.
Well, it depends on where you're landing, right? Because
Yeah.
first of all, nowhere where you land do they check you when you land. You're already
Never.
You got to be a real piece of shit for them to check you when you land. I mean, if they're like, pull that fucking guy off the plane. You know what I mean? If they're checking you when you're already on the plane, you made it through security, you got on the plane, you flew somewhere.
Yeah, and just completely act like a maniac in the sky, and then they flag you.
Or
I had a
you
guy
look so
yesterday I'm waiting to board last night to come, and a guy comes up, and he just, pulls his mask down, just big beard, and he's just like, "How's it going? Why aren't we boarding?" I'm like, "No, I was just being friendly." I'm like, the pilot's waiting for the whatever, and it just becomes clear he's drunk. He's just hammered, and he starts talking about comedy, and he's saying it's so loud. You just low key it. It's
Did you know who you were?
Yeah, and I'm just
Boy.
let's just get on the plane. No, man, tell me, who's your favorite comedian all time, dude?
Jerry Lewis.
He wouldn't stop. And then he does it, and I'm being nice, and he's peppering me with questions. And at a point, I was like, okay, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be rude. I'm just tired. Let's just get on. And he's like, oh, my bad. That's okay. I'm like, it's okay. Are you, and I asked him something about himself. I didn't want to think I'm just ghosting him. And he had this very kind of little sad story of he's telling. And then he's like, they go, okay, we're boarding group 1. He's like, let's go. And I'm like, we're a team now. And I'm like, why are we a team? And he goes, I'm not group 1, but I do this all the time.
Oh,
and he
no.
goes up and he gives the woman, the gate agent, his thing, and she gives it back and then goes, John, and he starts picking up speed to get into the gate. And she goes, no, you're group 3. You have to go back. And he's like, and he goes back. He just totally knew this is how he operates.
A lot of people do that. They try to sneak in. I've seen
It's
that
so
multiple
gross.
times.
It's so gross.
Yeah, it's a weird move.
It is a weird move.
Yeah.
And then just, why are you special? It's like kindergarten cutting.
Well, people panic when there's a line. They almost like they think they're not going to get let on.
Right.
It's like, I got to get on that plane now.
Right.
They're not going to let me on.
Everyone's getting on. You'll be fine. Do you want to sit in your seat that much longer? I mean, who cares?
Flying freaks people the fuck out, man. How many people get drunk? I mean, it's one of the weird places where you could drink at 8 in the morning.
Oh.
You go to the airport, they have booze there. On the flight, they have booze.
Everybody's drinking. Everybody's getting
Isn't that
hammered.
strange they give you a drug? They give you a drug.
It's scary, especially if you don't fly all the time. Like a lot of these people, this is probably their one flight of the year,
If that.
And
Yeah.
and freaked out. And they're getting on there and they're sweaty and nervous. Give me something.
Right, but it's weird that there's a very specific drug that you're allowed to consume and they'll provide it for you.
Right. They should be handing out
You
edibles
haven't
at
been
the
to
end
the
of
golf
security.
course at 7:30.
What?
You
What'd
haven't
you
been to
say?
the golf course at 7:30 in the morning.
Oh yeah, but that's not because they're worried you're nervous.
Yeah.
Well, there's just a bunch of drunks.
They're driving around in carts and with weapons and.
A golf club is kind of a weapon, but that's a weapon like your car's a weapon. It's not a weapon on.
You should
I
see the
guess it's
videos.
more.
There's some wild shit that happens on golf courses.
People
Yeah.
get in fights with golf
Oh
clubs?
yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's some crazy videos of people because they're talking shit, and then there's also the group in front of you. If they're fucking with your play, and then all of a sudden someone mouths off.
Start hitting up
Oh
on
yeah,
them.
then you got 8
people
dudes fighting. Basically,
get very tense about a guy in front of them that's going slow. Right?
Yes.
Is that the thing?
Yeah.
Or the guy behind them. I
Going
just
too
had this
fast?
Or
weekend.
if they're rushing.
Because it was a big holdup. The group behind having a lot of fun. The one guy's there all the time, just loud, drunk as shit, having a good time. 8 beers deep, but hey man, shut the F up. Like, we're out here, we're having a good time. We're not involved with you. They just-
Right.
I don't know what you're supposed to do.
Now, when you have like a fancy place, like you go to a fancy place, right?
Yeah. They're supposed to be able to call a guy, and they're supposed to come out and be the mediator.
But
But
what if that guy's like some oil baron's son?
100%.
That kind of shit happens.
Yep.
Ugh.
Right.
Good luck.
Annoying.
I was with I did a show in Colorado, and there was some flight attendants in the front row, and they came up at the end when I was signing books, and they wanted to talk about, because I talk about I have a line in my act about like what it is to be a good person now. The bar has been really lowered. Like, if you get on an airplane and don't punch a flight attendant straight in the face, you're a pretty good guy, like, and they came up and wanted to talk about the stories and stuff about how insane this last year has been.
Oh, sure, because you're trying to get people, first of all, just to sit down and buckle their seatbelt and not lean their seat back as hard. Now you got to get them to keep their fucking masks on.
The masks on, and no alcohol for a long time. She said her daughter worked for JetBlue, and she got in a physical altercation on JetBlue, her daughter. And she said, I think that they're going to stop the masks on the planes pretty soon, just because of that, just because it's going to calm everybody down.
My favorite video was a lady with no mask screaming at a man to put a mask on. She was just a person on the plane. It wasn't even she wasn't even a lady who worked for the airline. She was just screaming, and then she smacks him in the head. Have you seen that video?
No.
She wound up getting arrested, but she was just, I don't know if she was on drugs or what.
You don't know what you're dealing with. You don't know who's on what.
She goes, "You're a real piece of shit," and she smacks him in the head.
Oh my God.
And he's like an older guy.
Jeez.
And I guess she told him because one of the things that happened over the last year and a half is that people really enjoy telling you to put your mask on, because you kind of have to listen.
Yeah.
Someone says, put a mask on. You're like, "Whoa." You have to.
Yeah,
It's a thing.
yeah.
If you're not wearing it and someone, you
In the
can't
pla-
say
in the
fuck
space,
you.
right.
Yeah. If you say fuck you, then you're on YouTube, and then it's a real problem.
I mean, look, you got people to do it at all is pretty remarkable, because people, they don't know what they're doing. And
Right.
the move I see at the gate all the time is older people. These poor people, they can't breathe without like anything on their face. They're struggling. And the number of times I see them pull the mask down and cough into the air and then put it back up. They don't even cover with totally.
I can't breathe.
I'm telling you, I've seen that so many times.
I saw jujitsu classes where people had masks on.
Really?
It's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. You're breathing heavy. You're on top of each other.
Right.
You're sweating on each other.
Right.
And you got a stupid surgical mask on, which doesn't do a goddamn thing.
It's a struggle. It's really it's you
People
gotta
lost
just
their
let
fucking
them.
minds. They lost their fucking minds over the last 2 years.
Totally.
Think about how many people were already on anti-anxiety medication.
Yes.
Already fucked before that.
I know. And then you put this stressful situation on top of them.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a heavy load. It's a heavy load.
Yeah,
And,
and people's ability to take a new form of stress into an already stressful life. Very hard for a lot of folks.
really hard. And I can't believe, like, when I go to do shows and you see these people that are coming out, and they've got families, and they're out looking for laughs, like they're back wanting to do stuff again. It's like, I said to a couple shows, I was like, your kids won't say it, but I'll say it. I'm proud of you. I don't know what you did, but you did it. You got through these 2 years of weirdness and keeping your family safe, and that you're out just getting a drink and trying to have some laughs. Good on you. That's not a small thing that we did. That was a big deal, especially in the beginning when you're like, are we gonna die?
Right.
from
Is everyone
this?
gonna die?
Are we all gonna, like,
March of 2020, remember those days?
Yeah.
You were
yeah.
like, this could be way worse than they're telling us.
This is right, exactly.
Remember
this
those
could be
videos from
totally
China?
scary. Yes.
When they were bolting people in their houses and spraying disinfectant through the streets. You remember those?
Yes,
days?
and all of a sudden, New York was just quiet.
Yeah.
I mean, that was not we got through, like, human beings get through shit, but that, when you look back, it's like, whew, okay, that was really a thing.
It was really a thing.
So, that you were able to muddle through it, great. If it sent you off, I totally get that too. I totally get it too.
I just don't know how, when someone gets sent off, how do you bring them back? Like, how do you bring people back to like calm, normal?
Yeah.
After they went haywire.
Yeah, it just kind of, I don't know. It depends the degree, right? It just depends. You just have to have that thing of just, you just got to keep on getting on. You know, I remember my grandparents who like went through all of the original troubles. They just always had the mentality of like, yeah, big deal. I know. Life is hard. So, you want a tuna sandwich? What's going on?
The people that went through the Depression.
The Depression and the Second World War. And, you know, you just kind of muddle through. It all comes down to just doing your little task and going forward and trying to stay positive. It's like in the doing, like the little doing keeps you focused rather than the big overwhelming.
Well, being able to see, big picture. There's a funny meme that I saw online that Sam Tripoli posted on his Instagram. Find that. It shows the galaxy and the escape of the galaxy, and then it points to an arrow, and then you are here crying in the shower on the way to work.
Right.
Crying in the shower before work.
Right.
That's it right there.
You are here crying in the shower before work.
Just wake the fuck up.
Right, exactly.
How great is that meme?
That's amazing.
I love the internet. The fact that these memes exist, it's a totally new kind of comedy. What it says, we are the universe experience itself having an existential crisis. Carl Sagan.
That is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perspective. That's the biggest thing.
It's hard. Well, it
is hard.
There's an old expression, and I've said it many times. I'll say it again. But the hardest thing that's ever happened to you is the hardest thing that's ever happened to you. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter if it's a tiny little thing.
Right.
Like, when my daughter was 4 and, she couldn't find her toy and she started freaking out. I'd be like, listen, well, we're going to find it.
Right.
It's not that big a deal. It's a big deal.
I can't find Lammy.
But it was a big deal to a 4-year-old, right?
Sure.
Because she hasn't really had, now she's 11. The same thing happened, she'd be like, I can't find my toy. I'm like, well, let's look for it. Okay. Like,
Yeah.
she's got a little resolve now.
That's right.
She's experienced a little life.
Yeah, you got through it. I know.
Some people are fucking, they've taken no chances. They've played it safe their entire life. They don't understand it. They've never done anything that's really dangerous.
Right.
So when a form of adversity like COVID came along, or this fucking war, like this is scaring the fuck out of me.
It's so scary. So scary. And that's like, that's kind of the thing of like going about your day. It's like you check in and you look at it and it's like, oh, it's too much. And
I was reading an article today where they were talking about Putin's options. He has almost no options.
Which is terrifying.
Terrifying because he could do something crazy.
I know.
Yeah. If he decided to do something crazy, like what are we going to, like if he decides to send one nuke into Ukraine,
right,
and kills 100,000 people, 200,000 people, 300,000 people, what do we do? Are we supposed to nuke him now?
That's the dangerous thing. It's like, so you choke him out and you all the sanctions are taking effect and okay, so you turn him back and so, all right, so you defeat him. Ultimately, what does that mean to a guy that has the largest nuclear arsenal on the planet? What does he go, like, how does he save face?
I don't think he does.
And pull out.
What does it say?
Or does he just take it and everybody lives with him having taken it?
The world's nuclear-armed states possess a combined total of nearly 13,080 nuclear warheads. More than 90% belong to Russia and the United States.
Yeah, but look, Russia has more.
9,600 warheads. Is that true? Do they have more than us?
Russia has 6,257.
Wow.
We have 5,550.
Oh, my God. I thought we had more.
No.
I thought that we had more nuclear power. I thought like the power of our weapons was greater than the power of Russia's weapons.
I do know when I was looking something up about that, we were talking about the suitcase bomb the other day.
Yeah.
When I was digging through articles about that, trying to find out the accuracy, there's a lot of claims being made over certain time periods of like, we heard through intelligence that they now have 200, they made 250 of these. So you have to have proof of that. I don't think they're showing them their boxes of them, They're like saying
it's just
have new ones.
The nuclear football thing was, or the nuclear briefcase thing was always a thing that got discussed.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that I guess it doesn't matter, right?
Right.
Because if one nuclear bomb goes to Russia and they launch all their shit at us, and it kills the whole world multiple times over.
Right.
But I was under the impression, I believe I read something, that the power of the United States nuclear arsenal was larger than the power of the Russian arsenal. Maybe I confused that to numbers of bombs.
I don't know. It's all terrifying. It's so scary. And I don't know like what his Like, what's his end game? Like, if
How did
there's
he do it
40
in the
million
first
people
place?
in Ukraine, so like, how do you just take like?
Well, how did he do it in the first place? Like, imagine like us, like the United States invading Rhode Island. Mm-hmm. You know,
Right.
And like, what the fuck? If
Yeah.
they actually went out and did that, and it's a lot bigger than Rhode Island, right? It's like there's more people in Ukraine. Like, how many people are in Ukraine?
40 million?
Is it really that many?
Yeah, it's a
So
lot
that's
of people.
like that's like California. That's
God.
like if Washington D.C. invaded California. Like if the Pentagon invaded California.
It's so horrible. And you see these, and what's so bizarre is you're watching war on your phone. Like, you're seeing footage
Right.
of this
High
stuff.
resolution footage because people filmed it off of their phones.
And you
phones
think
are so
about
good
those
now.
kind of wars, it's like we're used to those grainy black and white images of those kind of a war.
Yeah.
And now you see people in like puffy jackets that your family wears and with their cell phones, and that one horrible picture of the family of 4 just on the sidewalk, just dead. And it was just, it's horrible.
Yeah, I saw horrible video footage of an apartment building that had been blown up, and there was these like old ladies wearing like old lady coats.
Yeah.
You know, like they look like your regular old
Right.
Ukrainian old lady just hanging out.
A month
and
ago,
blown apart, like legs missing, blood everywhere.
nightmare. How do you just do that? You just go in and just, it's horrible. So I don't know. That's what I keep looking for, is those articles on like, oh, so what's the end game? Like, what is this? What is the end of this?
Right.
Hey, it's terrifying.
It's so this thing about what Russia's offered Ukraine. I was listening to Sagar and Crystal from Breaking Points talking about it this morning. Mm-hmm. And apparently Russia's demands are that they recognize Crimea as being Russian. Mm-hmm. But I think they also want Ukraine to demilitarize itself, which is like hilariously crazy because you just attacked us.
Right.
Imagine you saying, "Hey, I know we just attacked you. We want you to get rid of all your weapons,
Right.
and we won't do it again."
Ay.
Like what?
Right. So we.
And also, if like your president dies, we want to put a president in.
Oh my God. He's a comedian.
Yeah, the guy played a guy. The president of Ukraine played a president on television, on a show a few years ago, and then ran for president and won. Genius. Kevin Spacey should have tried that.
He's a tough guy, man. He's just in the. They made an attempt at his life, and
3 attempts.
Three?
Apparently. Yeah, apparently they've made 3 attempts at his life.
oh my God.
But there was also like a Chechen hit team that came, like a whole squad of Chechens that they came into Ukraine to try to get him and then they got apparent. See, it's so hard to say what's true, what's not true.
Yeah.
Because you're hearing about things like I heard that the nuclear power plant got bombed. They attacked the nuclear power plant. And then they said actually it wasn't. It was a building next to the nuclear power plant.
Right, caught on fire.
No, they attacked it.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, they attacked a building that was near the nuclear power plant. So it wasn't the actual power plant. It was a building near it.
Right.
So it's like you hear about all these things, and it takes a day or two to find out what's true and what's not true.
At least we're finding something out. Russia's locked down. They don't even know what's going on. He's shut down everything.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, they have no access to any news. They're saying that they're not even aware of what's happening, the Russian people.
I wonder how their the system works there in terms of like if Biden wanted to deploy nuclear weapons, I'm sure there's a series of checks and balances that have to go into play before that happens. It has to be approved by somebody.
Right.
I wonder what the situation is in Russia.
I don't know. And even whatever the system that is, like what mistakes could be made.
If they have more nuclear weapons than us, and they got one guy who's already shown that he's willing to just invade a country that, just a few decades ago was a part of the Soviet Union.
Yeah,
and now it was all a part of the same union.
And now you're bombing them. You're killing them.
It's wild.
It's insane. It's so scary.
It's the scariest time I can ever remember. And I bet it must feel like to a lot of people what the Cuban Missile Crisis felt like, where it's like, Jesus, we're that close.
Yeah, like how far do we go? When does this tip over?
Do you remember when you were a kid and we really thought we were going to go to war with Russia?
Yeah.
Do you remember those days?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I remember those days clearly.
Yeah.
Like being in I guess it was high school, and I was thinking, oh my God, we're going to go to war with Russia.
Yeah. Rocky had to go against Drago.
That's right. Rocky fought Drago.
But Drago, when the U.S. won in the Olympics in the hockey, that
That's
that was so. I mean, the emotion of that was so crazy high, and it's hard to tell people, young people, like what that meant. Like, oh, that's cool, you beat the Russian. No, like it was at a fever pitch. Of just anxiety and almost war. I mean, we were in a Cold War. It was so big. And now we're kind of like back. It's what a dick. We're coming out of COVID. It's like it's all starting to feel hopeful. And now, God damn, what are you doing, man?
But there was a lot going on there. That the idea was that Ukraine was trying to join NATO, and if they joined NATO, then NATO could park nuclear weapons at Russia's door from Ukraine. Again, I'm not a foreign policy expert. It's shit I'm reading. There's a lot of complicated things to it. There's a video that we talked about a few podcasts ago, but it's really good. It's explaining. It's like 15 minutes, that video or so. It's like a synopsis of what is going on with Russia and Ukraine, why Ukraine is so valuable.
Right.
And one of the things is natural gas and oil. It has a tremendous reserve of natural gas and oil, and that's one of the reasons why Russia invaded Crimea and took over Crimea. That takes away some of the access to the waters where the oil and the natural gas are.
Okay. Could they have done it a different way? Could they have taken it over or made a deal or done something?
Dude, I don't know.
Is there some other way?
I don't know, but the whole NATO thing is kind of crazy too. If like NATO is invading and encroaching on Russia's space, if they're moving, these countries into, if they're making them join or having them join NATO, and then they actually would do that, park weapons next to Russia. Like I had Dakota Meyer on the podcast, who's a veteran, who's got a famously insane story about some of his combat duty in war in Afghanistan, like crazy shit. But he was saying, imagine if another country like Russia or China parked nuclear weapons in Mexico. And you're like, oh yeah. I mean, it's not. There's no justifying anything that Putin did. What he's done is horrific and terrifying, and he's a legit maniac.
Yeah.
But you got to wonder, like.
Yeah, there's something at
How
play.
many pieces are moving here?
Yeah,
Whenever
and the humiliation, like the cultural humiliation that he was saying. Of, that's what Hitler was bred on. After World War I, it was the humiliation. We're going to regain this for ourselves, like that human emotion in a leader that drives them in these ways.
Yeah, but I don't
still
think
exists.
the people are with Putin.
No, they're not. That's why he's shutting everything down.
Yeah, I think it's a real bad move for him. I think
it seems so isolating, but that's what makes it even crazier, right? Like, so it's this one guy, so then he can do whatever there's no checks on him. There's no. You see that one when he's meeting with his people, and he's like on one end of this 50-foot table, and all his advisors are down at the other end.
Really?
Did you see that picture?
No.
Yeah, Jamie, if you could find that picture of him talking to his advisors. It's like he's isolated in very real ways. It's terrifying.
He has to be. I mean, they could not have wanted this. I mean, if you play things out from where they first invade Ukraine, like, how does this end good?
Right. What's the end game?
Did they just give up? They just give up and you occupy Ukraine? I mean,
they're going to be happy that you're there. And
I mean, I've read how many official Russian soldiers have died. It's in the hundreds. But there's unofficial reports that it's far greater than that. So it's like, oh my God, that's insane.
Yeah,
that's an insane photo.
That's him having his meeting with his people.
Why is he doing it like that?
They say that he got really wigged out by COVID.
No.
And he doesn't trust people. Yeah.
No chance.
That's what
really?
they said, yeah.
So he stays that far away from people because of COVID?
That's
Look at all
what
the
they
colorful food. Looks delicious.
That's photoshopped.
Oh, someone put all that. Someone filled the table up with food.
Someone filled the table up with a buffet. I'm like, that looks yummy.
That looks good.
Putin's long table explained why he put some leaders, including Germany's Scholz, at an extreme distance. So it must be a COVID thing. Click on that. It's in Forbes.
Why he put some...
Oh, you fucks. Pay for it.
$50 for a subscription.
Is that really what they're charging?
That's what it said. $49.99.
Well, Forbes
Yeah,
is a
it's
financial thing. They have money.
This is why it's so scary. It's like if Hitler had nukes. It's like, okay, so you can beat him in all these different ways. Like you're
Right.
saying, the soldiers or his country turns on, like, or he gets just militarily defeated. But he has this thing at the back of it. Like he has this horrible weapons as his, like he's got that.
Right.
So like if you break him and take him all the way to the end, he still has that. That's the most terrifying.
So it says the distance from Schultz, he refused to take a Russian-administered COVID-19 PCR test. That's why. So they put him at the end of the table. But he has the fact that he has a crazy table like that. It says Putin is living in a strict health bubble, and the Kremlin confirmed the extreme distance is to protect Putin. Wow. Well, I guess when you poisoned a few folks, you get a little nervous.
Right.
I mean, imagine like what he's done to his detractors, and then imagine how nerve-wracking it must be to be him and worry about like retaliation.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like he poisons doorknobs and shit. Right. Other people touch doorknobs and they get sick and die.
In different countries.
Yeah. Did that in was England? Was it?
Yeah. God.
So what's the process for him launching nuclear weapons? That's what I want to know. Like, does he have to clear it with his generals?
I hope he has to talk to someone.
Because he's the top dog, right?
Yeah.
Do they share that with the world?
Probably not. Good point.
This is what I want to know. What, like, the amount of power, nuclear weapons that Russia has and the amount of nuclear weapons that America has, like, can't they blow up the whole world, kill all life, like,
Yes.
many times over?
Yes. So you hope that's the deterrent.
Right. Yeah.
But you don't want them like
Usually-
Scarface at the end, just like, fuck it. I'm going to take everything out. If I go, we all go.
Yeah, a giant long table filled with Coke.
Say hello to my little friend.
Well, that's the thing. Like, also, how old is the guy?
I don't know.
It's like 69 years old.
Uh-huh.
And is he in great health? I mean,
I don't know. I don't know. I hopefully...
what if he's got a
I mean, we're all
tumor?
like, you know, and then you've got China behind them, but we all kind of need each other for these economies to keep going. I mean, I don't know.
Yes.
It's all too scary and unknown. This is why you go back to the thing of like my grandmother of like, do you want a tuna sandwich? Because it's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Well, this is too much, but it's too much where you go, this could go really bad, and how does it go good? Mm-hmm. Like, how does it go good? The only way it goes good is if Putin backs out. And if he backs out, he looks weak.
Yeah, right. Or if they surrender and give him Ukraine, but then does he stop?
Oh, wait a minute. They're not going to do that.
I'm just talking crazy scenarios
Right.
of like how it could end.
I guess, yeah, if they surrendered and gave Ukraine.
Or he takes it over and he just starts to occupy it and it becomes Syria.
But this is what I was reading. What I was reading was they were saying that they're grossly underestimating the amount of human beings they would have to have in Ukraine to take over. And they said it was probably in the neighborhood of 500,000. So
Military?
Yes. They would need 500,000 people to take over and run Ukraine.
God.
Because if you take over, you have to take over everything.
You got to take over everything.
You got to take over the military. You got to take over all the political seats, unless they just go, you know what? You guys were right. We're
Right.
going to be Russians now.
Right.
We gave up. We're not Ukrainian anymore. That's not going to happen.
Because then it becomes Syria, right? It becomes this prolonged war within the country and just totally destroys everything in it.
It's nuts, man.
So crazy.
So how many times over can we blow up everybody?
I am trying to find that out. The best answer I've found now is how destructive are today's nuclear weapons
I'm so scared.
compared to the Hiroshima and Nagasaki ones. It says those were about 15 kilotons and 20 kilotons respectively. Current estimations now of thermonuclear weapons yield about 100 kilotons of dynamite comparison. That's just for one. It says 1 kiloton nuclear weapon dropped on New York City could lead to roughly 583,000 fatalities. So multiply that times 10,000.
I think you could just say everybody.
Yeah,
it would
basically,
kill
right.
everybody.
So, because you said Russia has 6,000 of them and we have 5,000 something.
Yeah, they have just over 6,000. We have just under 6,000
So it's
estimated.
do we have more power than them? More nuclear destructive capability?
Again, that would then go into like, we've shown videos of like a couple mega bombs. Like we could have one that could, take over 15 or 20 of theirs. I don't know how many of those one we have. We might only have one or two. And
Right.
we save it for a good day or whatever. I don't know.
So you've got to really hope that he doesn't want that he loves Russia so much he doesn't want Russia to be obliterated.
The president of France,
Yeah.
what's his name? Macron? Is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
Macron. I was reading an article where he was saying that he met a very different Putin when he went to Moscow to talk to him about all this, and that Putin was just ranting and raving for hours and hours about history.
Right.
Which I don't like.
I don't like that either.
I don't like hearing that.
I don't like hearing that either.
Because if he's thinking that much about history, he might be thinking about like leaving his mark.
Right.
Yes. Fuck
him.
Yeah, fuck him for sure.
Fuck him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, even his own family's probably like, fuck him.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, how's that guy stay safe?
How do you stay safe? And is there stuff at work of like, how do we get this guy?
I guarantee there's how do you get this guy?
Right.
I mean,
because it's down to that, right? We're down to one guy.
Right. Like if someone took him out, like let's imagine like it happens inside of Russia.
Right.
Like some Russian military guy decides to take him out.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like it's on the table.
I would imagine.
This is a crazy movie.
It is a crazy movie. It's scaring me.
Yeah, I'm scared.
So
the only thing that's keeping me comfort is bread.
Batman did a really good opening this weekend. Maybe we send Batman.
Look at this. Putin sends nearly 100% of Russian forces at border into Ukraine.
100% of the forces. That means everybody that was lined up at the border. He sent them all.
At border.
He sent them
into
all
Ukraine.
in. When everyone was watching all the people amassing, and they're like, I don't know if he's going to do anything.
It says, but the United States does not believe that Russia is preparing to move additional battalion tactical groups from elsewhere into the country to shore up its troops in Ukraine. But this is today, Jamie? Yeah.
I do not like his face. His face bothers me.
Does it? Well, it's the face of a killer.
Yeah.
Should bother you. That's the last face you see before a knife gets rammed in your throat.
Jeez.
I mean, how many guys, realistically, how many guys do you think that man has watched die by his hand?
Oh, my God.
A lot.
Yeah.
There's a difference, right, between him and a guy like Biden.
Mm-hmm.
It's, telling stories about Corn Pop. Corn Pop was a bad dude. One of the things that I was saying,
I love baseball.
Doesn't really apply to him because he's doing something terrible. But one of the things I was saying about the democratic process of electing a president.
Yeah.
That one thing that's weird is that you're taking on the most important job in the world, and you're new. You're new on the job. You're new on the job. You only get 4 years to get good at it. And then, like in the case of Trump, they vote you out.
Right.
So now you just start to get an understanding of how things work.
Yeah.
How to make the fucking engine move smoothly. They get rid of you. Whereas a guy like him, he's been running Russia for decades.
I know.
And when you do that, like if there's anything else you do, if you're a CEO of a company, if you run your own business, after a decade or two, you really know what you're doing.
Yeah, you get an idea of how to do it.
It's kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
That the most important job, everyone who does it is new at it.
Right? It is really weird. You've got to be great.
Yeah.
Immediately.
But the other option's terrible. The other option is dictators.
The other, then you get Putin.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
But the other thing with America is then you have what, they refer to as the deep state. Because really, you have the figurehead, who's Biden.
Right.
This is the best example we've ever had because clearly he's declining.
Right.
And so the people around him and the intelligence agencies and the military, those are the people that are really calling the shots.
That was like Bush also. That was always the argument. It was like, well, there's other people. He's not really running the show.
Dick Cheney.
Right. He's not really running the show.
Did you see that movie?
I did.
I didn't see it. Still haven't seen it.
It's so good.
Is it?
His performance is so... Christian Bale.
He's amazing.
Oh, my God. I couldn't... As I was watching it, I had just not recently, but the last thing I saw him in was Ford versus Ferrari.
He was great in that too.
He won the Oscar for it, I think, right? He's all skinny with my buddy Matt, and he's just skinny. And I remember talking to Matt, and he was like talking about being on set with him, and
Yeah.
he was so impressed. And I mean, he was in acting since he was a little kid, but I could not believe I was watching him as Cheney and that this guy was Ford versus Ferrari.
It is crazy. I mean, what he's able to do with his body, the transformations he puts himself through.
The eyes. I mean, he changes inside. That's the most insane thing. It's not just like they put prosthetics on him or he wears a collared shirt. There's something in his eyes, the way he talks, the way he moves.
Yeah.
I mean, he transforms. And then what was the other one he did with Adam McKay with the money, the Big Short? Remember, he was the guy that figured out that the housing crisis was going to happen.
Right.
Everything he does.
Yeah.
What was he when he was a kid? It was not Empire. When he was a kid with John Malkovich.
A kid?
Spacing. It was
a
Empire
child
of the Sun.
Empire of the Sun.
I don't remember that one.
Oh yeah. This is where he started, and he was great then.
How old was he?
He was like 12.
Oh my God, that's him.
That's him.
With Steven Spielberg. Wow.
He was so good,
That's
Joe.
Christian Bale as a 12-year-old?
Yes.
It looks like him. Look at that.
Yes, that's him in a leading role as a 12-year-old. And I'm telling you, he was amazing then. This was not like, look, I put on a play in 5th grade where I played a Canadian Mountie. It didn't come close to what this kid was doing in this movie.
Yeah, he does transform himself. Like when he was the guy in American Psycho.
Yes.
Amazing. I
Amazing.
mean, you 100% hook, line, sinker believed it.
Oh, my God.
And then the mechanic, which is probably, or the machinist rather, which is one of the weirdest ones. The one when he lost all that weight.
Right.
Oh, that's when he played Dickie Ward. Was it Mickey Ward's cousin? Is it Dickie Eklund? Is that his cousin?
Yeah.
Is that the guy's name
I don't remember
that he
the
played?
character's name, unfortunately, but I remember the movie for sure.
He's so good. God.
I think it's Dickie Eklund. Pull that up just to because it's. I want to say it was. I thought it was Mickey Ward's brother.
Not to sidetrack, but I played Colonel Do-Better in that play.
But he was great in that movie too because in that well, that's a different movie. Yeah.
The fighter.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The guy's
Dickie Eklund. Yeah.
He's never swung and missed.
And he played this guy who, we all in the boxing, like, look how,
Yeah.
I mean, he's a crack addict in real life. And so the guy was like, in and out of trouble. And he played this brother of Mickey Ward, who's this famous boxer. And he just played this kind of like, eccentric, crazy, drug addict, troubled brother.
Right.
And you fucking totally bought it. I mean, that's Batman. How crazy is that?
That's great. That's right.
That's Batman.
That's right.
And by the way, the best Batman. He was the best Batman.
He was the best.
The voice was a little goofy. But
People are loving
Batman.
the new one. People love the new one.
People love spam. They love everything. People love all kinds. They love TikTok.
Who is the new Batman?
Hayden Christensen, is that his name?
No.
Hold on, that's
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, Pattinson.
The guy from Twilight.
Yeah.
He's the vampire.
Oh, right.
Girls loved him as a vampire.
Yes.
There's a very controversial thing because he really wasn't into working out to be Batman. So he's like the least convincing physical presence as Batman.
Really? He wouldn't work out?
I'm sure he did a little something, but he didn't work out like
A couple squat thrusts?
Christian Bale worked out. Like,
yeah.
Christian Bale as Batman he looked like an MMA fighter. He was jacked like that.
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson. I mean, I guess he's
in shape.
He looks they probably photoshopped the shit out of that.
Right.
It's hard to say.
Whose body is that?
It looks good right there, though.
They put his head on.
I would say that looks reasonably athletic. That's what I would say.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, that's a guy who's not fat.
I wonder what you would
for
describe me with my shirt on.
vengeance-
That's reasonably.
vengeance
Dead man
defined.
walking. What?
He's vengeance defined, right? Isn't that
Yeah, that's not vengeance defined, unfortunately.
like embodied?
But apparently, it's a very dark and interesting movie, and everyone that I
Yeah.
know that has seen it loved it.
Yeah. I've heard good things. 128 million opening weekend.
You're a fucking Hollywood guy. You pay attention to that shit.
I saw the headline.
Look at you reading Variety right, on the toilet. How much money are they making? As if like somehow or another that involves you.
That's big. That's big.
Yeah. How much did Pfizer earn this quarter? Tell me that.
I don't know that part, but I do know that and Jackass Forever did very well.
I'm sure it did. I don't know how those guys are alive.
That's the biggest victory for me. I just love that dumb fun comedy.
Yeah.
Went back to making some money after the pandemic. That's good news for all of us.
Dude, you know what I watched yesterday? I watched a series of Buster Keaton stunts.
Oh man, he was the real
Dude,
deal.
I mean, I know I've seen these before.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't have been so shocked, but I went down a rabbit hole and I watched quite a few of them.
YouTubes?
Yeah, there's a gang of them. One of them, he goes out this window. he jumps from one rooftop to another roof, grabs onto the lip of the roof and slips and falls and watch this. Now this is not CGI. So he's standing there. He makes the leap. He catches that, falls through those things, and then catches that bar.
Wait a minute.
And then goes under like that. These are real, man. And look at this.
That's amazing.
I mean,
wow.
How do you do that? There's no stuntmen.
Yeah,
this is Buster Keaton. But he did a bunch of these things. Like, watch this.
Grabs the car.
Grabs the car and he holds on to it and he goes sideways. But the thing is, man, this is all really happening.
Yeah.
Like, watch this. He grabs the back of this trolley car. No, that's not real. That is not real.
How does he do it, though?
That's definitely not real.
How'd he do it? He was like one of the first filmmakers.
But that's not real. Like, that defies physics, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
I guess so.
I mean, how did he do it? There's
Ask
so many
Johnny
of these.
Knoxville.
There's some
bet he
of
would know,
these
right?
were the beginnings of camera optical illusions.
Oh, really?
Some of them.
Some of them.
Not all of them, because he got fucked up doing some of these too.
Oh,
Yeah.
he had to get fucked up because they probably had to figure out what you can get away with and what you can't get away with.
Didn't he? Did you see the one when the whole house falls?
That's real. This is real.
This is real.
Wow, look at that.
I mean, this is wild shit, man. Wild shit that he was. Oh, look at that.
His whole car falls apart.
That's hilarious.
Like that may
Like this.
Yeah, so how did he do that one?
There's a small chance it just was on a like he did some of it, but like that could have been like a screen plate, you know, like the way they even did cartoons back then. I've seen a few behind the scenes of some of these, but I also
Yeah.
don't want to discredit it at all. I heard he got hurt doing this and
Yeah.
still managed to make something happen, even though it failed the way he planned it.
Dude, this makes my hand sweat just looking at it.
I know.
Like, watch him make this leap.
Boom, boom.
I mean, how does that
Well,
how does that not fuck you up?
was that his body though falling down?
Well, it wasn't somebody else's body.
It could have been a dummy,
Let me
Do you think?
maybe. It sure looked like
I
you
wonder.
would
I
die
just-
if you did it. Like if
Oh,
somebody
yeah.
really did it, right?
I mean, it makes me nervous just too. But look, fucking crazy ass Tom Cruise does his own stunts for Mission Impossible. Broke his ankle jumping from one roof to another. Did you ever see that video?
No.
He clearly breaks his ankle.
Really?
Like he makes this. I mean, he's wired and everything, so he doesn't have to worry about dying. But he makes the leap, and his ankle catches funny. And you see his ankle like give out. Yeah.
What do you think the desire is to do your own stunts?
Tom does all his own. Tom, like he's my friend.
Yeah.
My friend Tom.
Tom does
Not
it.
Tom Papa. Tom Cruise.
Oh.
The other Tom. Tom
Yeah.
C.
The guy who doesn't bake bread.
He does all his own stunts. He does motorcycle race stunts. He does car racing stunts. He does a lot of wild shit. He learned how to race helicopters. He learned how to fly helicopters to do a scene. Wasn't that
He's
Mission
amazing.
Impossible as well? Like there was a crazy scene, and they were like, "Hey man, this is a fucked up scene." He's like, "I'm gonna do it," and they're like, "What?" So he takes his helicopter and he's going through this valley,
Yeah.
like sideways.
Jeez.
Yeah, and he's piloting the fucking helicopter.
Don't mess with TC.
He's a wild dude.
He is a wild dude.
You know, all things through L. Ron Hubbard, who strengthens him.
Well, there's truth to that, isn't there?
Well, yeah, if you believe it, like this is
Like he
real
does.
too. But this, like he's strapped into the, he's like tied on.
Oh my
he's not
God.
just hanging on.
Amazing.
A lot of the shit that he did, like this is him actually doing this. He's actually being suspended. He actually jumps out of this fucking building.
God.
He does wild shit, man.
And he has the option to tag out, go to his
Yeah.
trailer,
Like, look at this.
eat some carrot sticks while the other guy does it.
Yeah. Well, and by the way, stuntmen die. They
Mm-hmm.
die. They die all the time. It happens all the time in films.
Yeah.
I have a very good friend of mine who got badly injured doing
Really?
stunt work just a couple of years ago, and he's still fucked up.
Really?
Yeah, his
What
head.
happened?
He was doing a stunt, and he did it once, and they liked it, and they asked him to do a second take, and he was very uncomfortable, and he did it and banged his head really hard. My friend Tate, you might have met Tate at the Comedy Store.
Maybe.
Yeah, Tate was on season 3 of The Ultimate Fighter.
Okay.
And he's, big, fucking, strong, athletic guy. And stunts just go bad, man.
Of course.
They just go bad. And he banged his head, and he was fucked for a long time.
Oh, my God.
Couldn't see bright light, had to be in dark rooms.
Jeez.
Oh, and all the depression that comes
Oh,
when
no.
people get those horrible head injuries like that. So meanwhile, here's Tom Cruise, literally the biggest movie star in the world,
Yeah.
risking his ass
Yeah.
doing these things.
It's insane. I slipped on the ice in Fargo, North Dakota last week.
Hit your head?
A little bit.
You all right?
Huh? But it was literally like a week after Saget.
Oh, no.
I was just I didn't even know I was falling. It would just happen so fast. I was just walking to my show, but everything in Fargo right now is an ice block. It's
Right.
literally covered in ice. So I'm just walking. I wasn't even thinking about falling. I was just thinking about getting into the building because it was so damn cold. It's like minus 31 wind chill.
Oh.
And I'm just walking, and there was no part of me that was like, whoops, or whoa, or I might be falling. I was just, I fell.
Bang.
I'm down. I'm on the sidewalk. And there was a building next to me, and I just kind of grazed it a little bit with my head. And I think I might have broke a rib because I'm still in pain down here.
Broke a rib?
Or bruised it. Yeah, something.
If you broke a rib, you'd probably know.
I can't sleep on it.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's been a couple weeks.
Can you touch it, and do you feel like you know?
I feel it. It's just not like, it's not crazy pain, but
They don't do much for those unless it's really bad. Then they put screws in place.
yeah, no, this isn't that bad. Maybe
a-
I bruised it.
There's a gentleman named Chance Rencounter. We brought him up a couple of times because he fought in Bellator a couple weeks ago, or a week ago, I guess. Not even a week, or just maybe whatever it was.
Yeah.
Recently, and he got kicked and broke 5 of his ribs.
Oh.
Yeah, like kicked really hard.
Ah.
And he put a photo of the X-ray up, I think yesterday, of the screws and the plates that they put in place to put his ribs back together. Yeah, there's the kick. Look at that.
And that kick broke 5 ribs?
Bro, look at it. It's like
Oh.
it's halfway into his body cavity.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, he fought this guy Koreshkov, who's a straight up killer.
Yeah.
He hit him with a spinning back kick to the body.
Oh, my God. I saw some of your kicks. You posted a kick like a month ago?
Same kick. That's
Holy
the same kind
cow.
of kick. Yeah.
Whack.
Yeah.
Whack.
You do not want a guy like that kicking you like that.
No,
Yeah,
I
so there's
can't
his
even walk
ribs.
through the winter wonderland of Fargo without getting hurt.
So look at his ribs. All of these plates put in them now.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, just to
That
kind
could
of
puncture a lung.
Oh, 100%. His lung was punctured.
It was.
Yeah, and it was soaked with blood. His lung was filled with blood. It was punctured.
Oh, my
Yeah.
God.
I mean, it was a brutal break.
And that ended the fight?
Oh yeah,
It was
like the
just over.
first few seconds of the fight. He threw that kick.
Jeez.
It was very quick, very early in the fight.
How was this weekend?
It was great.
Was it?
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, great event.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, wild.
I don't know the names or anything, but any surprises?
No, not necessarily. Just
Yeah.
really good fights. It
Yeah.
was Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal. Have you been to a UFC live?
I
yet?
haven't.
Bro.
I really
what
wanna
are you-
go.
What are you waiting on?
I'm waiting for the invite.
You
I
know a
keep-
guy.
I mean,
You know a guy.
do I got to
Just-
give you 3 loaves?
Just tell me when you want to go.
I would love to.
Yeah,
Are you going to be in Vegas in May?
No, I don't think there's a May one. There's a July one.
Okay.
I think is there a Vegas May date? There may be a May one, but it probably is at the Apex Center
Uh-huh.
because there's an April one that's in Phoenix. That is April. No, excuse me. That's in Florida. That's April 9th, and there's a May one that's in Phoenix.
Phoenix could be fun.
Yeah, Phoenix is fun.
I have a show in Vegas in May. If you can make that happen, that'd be great.
I'll call the UFC. Say, listen, Tom Pompa wants to see some scraps.
Where should I go? I would love to come, honestly.
If you want to go, the Phoenix one will be great.
Yeah?
Yeah, because the Phoenix one, it'll be a fun time if you want to come, because I don't have any gigs scheduled that weekend either. We're just going to go and have fun.
Oh, man, I saw your steak that you ate after. I was
yeah, we had the John George Steakhouse in Aria.
I was like my dog, just like salivating. That would look beautiful.
One thing about Vegas, man, there's so much good food.
Yeah.
That place is great, but even better. Sorry, John George Steakhouse, but Bazaar Meats.
Where's
which
that?
Is at the Sahara.
Oh, yeah?
It's
Bazaar Meats.
It is insanely good.
Really?
And they cook them over fire, so they have these Argentine-style wheel steak grills where they lift and lower. So that, they have these, you walk in there, you smell the wood burning and the smell of the meat and the smell of the burning wood. Oh,
your caveman comes out.
It's so good. And the gentleman is a famous chef, Jose Andres. Who is the head chef of that place? So you walk into that place.
Yeah.
Jamie, show the area where they're cooking. If they have there's a video of it. I know. So that's it. Perfect. So those right there. So they have the cuts
grill.
of meat right there. These big thick cuts of steak, and then they have these grills that are basically fires. So they have it's just hardwood.
Jeez.
And then they put the steaks at the top. See the very top area?
Yeah.
They have them up there until the steaks reach an internal temperature of, 110 degrees or something like that. Then they put them directly over the fire to sear them on the outside. So they use a reverse sear method.
Jeez.
It is.
It looks so good.
I always think I should go somewhere else when I'm in Vegas, but I never do. It's not worth fucking around.
I can never get that outside char at home.
Oh, I can help you.
You can?
Yeah, that I'm good at.
Are you?
I can't bake bread at all, but I can cook the fuck out of some steak. I'm very good at that.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I have a beautiful freezer in my garage.
Yeah, that's right. You got a nice setup.
Yeah.
I gave you that commercial freezer.
That my buddy
How much
Joe
elk
gave
do you
me.
have left?
I have not that much steaks. I have a good amount of ground elk still.
Do you have sausages too?
Yeah, but I'm getting low.
You should do. Well, I got more. You should make lasagna with that ground elk.
That's a good idea.
Have you ever made lasagna?
Not with the elk.
Oh,
I mean, I make a good lasagna.
Oh, yeah, you should make it with elk.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yes. Elk lasagna. Elk chili's really good too.
Ooh, that's another good idea. You know what I really like, which I think you told me, is for breakfast.
Oh, yeah, with eggs?
Just crack some eggs over
Yes.
it. Oh,
fantastic.
Get some of this toast on the side.
In butter, so you get a lot of the fats from the butter, and I like a little garlic salt.
Right.
Put garlic salt over all of it.
Yeah. It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That freezer's great.
Something about the smells of cooking, too, they're so exciting. When you cook food, you get to smell all the aromas while it's cooking, and then afterwards you eat it. It's like you get double pleasure.
Whenever I'm making sauce, and you start with onions in the oil,
Yes.
like a sofrito,
peppers and some garlic.
some carrots and
olive
celery,
oil.
and that onion smell will linger for a day or two. Every time, the meal's done, you're all satisfied, whatever. You come up the stairs the next morning, and you still have that lingering. It's like the holidays. Yeah. It's like the whole house is just filled with it.
I love the smell of sautéed garlic. It's one of my favorite smells.
Oh, it's the best.
Something about whenever I cook a sauce, the first thing that I do, I usually just use bottled sauce, but whenever I do it, the first thing I do before I pour it in the pan is I heat the pan up and I mince up some garlic. I put some olive oil, let the olive oil get up to temperature, and then I drop the garlic in there, get it crackling. And then once it gets crackling, then I pour the sauce in over that.
So good.
So you can never have enough garlic.
I know. I interviewed Lydia Bastianich.
Who's that? No.
She's a famous chef, Italian chef. And I had her on my podcast, and she was telling me that it wasn't until Italian Americans started cooking Italian food, when they brought it over to the new country, garlic was cheaper. So that's when garlic was really heavily introduced.
Really?
Yeah, it was always
Because it was expensive in Italy?
yeah, or it was more rare. And she said, but all us lugs in Jersey were just throwing garlic on it like crazy, and it became like a heavy thing. It used to be, like carrots and celery and onion, and it was a lighter kind of a thing. And we were just like, garlic.
Dude, I've seen like literally 40 or 50 hours of videos of Italian guys cooking steak over fire. Because there's a special type of steak they cook in Florentine. They call it bistecca Florentine.
Yeah.
And they do the same kind of thing as that. It's like you're cooking over live fire.
Right.
And the smells and the embers. And I don't know what they're saying because they're all talking in Italian. They're like, man, mangia. They're all getting into it.
I have the same thing watching guys making carbonara. With
yes.
its guanciale and the egg and the cheese,
the bacon.
and Matteo Lane turned me on to these carbonara guys, and the same thing, all in Italian. Don't understand it, but you're just watching them.
It's better sometimes if you don't understand what they're saying.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You're right.
Especially something as simple as cooking steak over fire, because these guys, and you can have the closed captions on and everything, and you can read what they're saying. But there's something about watching.
Yeah,
it's like so primal watching people cook meat over fire.
What's your char method? Like, how do you get the outside? Like, I throw it on I have a gas grill. First of all, will I ever get char?
Well, the best way to do it if you have a gas grill, honestly, is you do it two ways. You start it off slowly, like you put it low, and I would put it at like 250, 260, somewhere around that line, and have a meat thermometer. Get it up to whatever the internal temperature you'd like to achieve is. I like to get, like with elk, I like to keep it pretty rare on the inside and slowly get it to like 120. And then I like to use a cast iron frying pan to sear it.
Oh.
Yeah, so I get the cast iron frying pan very hot, very hot.
Butter?
No
butter.
No, because butter has a low flash point. It'll burn.
It'll burn up.
Yeah, so I use beef tallow.
Beef tallow. What's that?
Yeah, beef fat.
Oh.
Yeah, beef tallow is better because you can get beef tallow very, very hot.
And that's how you do it with the elk?
Or low flash point or smoke point. I forget what it's called. But basically what it is like at a certain temperature, like some oils will become fucked up and they burn.
Right.
Like butter burns pretty quickly.
Right.
Olive oil is not the best for that.
Yeah.
Which olive oil is great for like a nice medium heat saute with garlic and stuff like that.
Yeah, totally.
But with beef tallow, you can get it hot as fuck. And so that I scoop some of the beef tallow out, I dip it in the frying pan, and then I just sear it on the outside, like depending on what the internal temperature is, maybe minute and a half, 2 minutes on each side, maximum.
Because you're just doing the outside at that point because you've achieved the inside already.
Yeah, just trying to get a nice crust. What do they call the Maillard reaction? Is that what they call it? There's a reaction of meat where the meat sort of gets like a caramelization. I think it's called Maillard.
Okay.
That's like when you get a steak and it's got a nice crust on the outside.
Yes.
And then the inside, it's very perfect. Mwah.
Do you put the cast iron on the grill?
You can.
Yeah.
I usually
do you
it
need
inside.
the heat? Do you then turn the heat up? Or you do it inside?
Yeah, I usually do it inside.
Right.
Because, if I was going to put the cast iron on the grill, I'd turn the heat up way high.
Right.
Is it called the Maillard? Yes.
Maillard.
Maillard reaction. So it's a chemical reaction with sugars and amino acids in the meat reacting, create new flavorful compounds. Flavorful. But that's that beautiful brown crust on the outside.
Yeah.
So what I do is when I get the temperature of the meat up to about 90 degrees I usually, generally speaking, I like to do elk one of two ways. Either I use one of those Argentine type grills and I cook it over fire, and when I do it slowly, I use like a meter probe, or I do it on the Traeger, which is very easy because the Traeger, the temperature stays super consistent, and you can read the temperature on your phone. So I like that.
That's cool.
So I can read the temperature of the meat and the grill on my phone. So just look in the app. So I could be watching TV or whatever and just chilling. So then once it gets to about 90-ish, then what I do is I fire up the stovetop in the house at high heat, and I put a cast iron frying pan there.
Got
And
it.
I get that sucker real hot, get the fan cranking, and then I throw some tallow in there right when I'm about to put it on there.
Got it.
And the beautiful thing about that is when you do that method, you don't have to make it rest very long either, because you sort of slowly cooked it to that 120 degrees anyway. Then you're searing on the outside, and I'll let it rest 5 minutes plus.
Right.
That's about it.
Oh, that sounds great.
Nice.
That sounds good.
Nice. And
so where do we go see the fights then? Maybe it
Where do
should
you
be
wanna go?
Vegas.
Well, Vegas, you can go to July if you want to come to the July fights.
That could be cool.
Yeah, that'll be a big one. The July
Yeah.
is July 2nd, and that's and I have a gig July 1st too there.
July 2nd. I think I'm in San Diego July 1st, so then I just buzz across.
Perfect. Yeah. Oh yeah, hop, skip, and a jump. That's easy. Show up July 2nd. Yeah, you'll love it.
Oh, that'd be cool.
It'll be a big one too.
Yeah.
Whatever that July one will be, it's the July 4th weekend is always huge for the UFC. It's because July 4th is that Monday. So
Right.
July
Okay.
2nd will be a cracking card. They
Right.
always have like a championship event, and it might be the return of Conor McGregor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know they're talking about Conor coming back.
Really?
It all depended upon his injury. You know,
Yeah. Is he healed?
I'm not sure. He said says he's working out and walking around. You can see him walking around. He looks fine, but whether or not he can actually spar, that's the big thing.
Right.
It's like sparring is.
If it'd be, yeah.
You have to make sure that the bone's not going to break again, and he's
Right.
got a titanium plate in there now,
Oh, jeez.
just like that guy had on his ribs.
Right.
Connor's got that on his shin now.
Aye.
Screws in there, and so who knows like what it feels like, whether or not he can fully get after it. you
Yeah.
know?
That'd be a big payday.
No, he's going to do it for free. Well,
He just loves it, right?
see, the thing is, I don't know if it can be Connor, because what they're talking about is Connor fighting for the title again, which is kind of hilarious. But if that does happen, it will be the winner of Justin Gaethje versus Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira is the current champion, and they're fighting in May. And that is a big fight, and that's taking place in Arizona. But the thing about that fight is, when that fight is, I think I'm right about that. Make sure I'm right about that. I'm wrong a lot. But when that fight takes place, you have to assume that they can be healed enough to fight in July, because that doesn't give you a lot of time. It's only 2 months.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
To be able to, right, come back.
Yeah, May 7th. So that's the one that's in Phoenix. That's a big one.
Oh, boy.
So it's like, for you to be able to fight, unless, like, let's say Charles Oliveira catches Justin Gaethje in a submission real quick, or Justin Gaethje catches Charles Oliveira with a big punch and knocks him out. If one of those guys wins quick, then you could conceivably say, I'm good to go for July,
Right.
and they make it happen.
Right.
But that's a big if.
Right.
Because these are two of the very best fighters in the world, and most likely they're going to fuck each other up.
And they'll go the distance, and they'll be all messed up.
They're going to be messed up.
Yeah.
Most likely. You never know.
Right.
Like Colby Covington just won this weekend. He said he has no injuries. He says he's good to go. He says he'd like to fight again in July. He said that.
Wow.
I think he said July. But he wants to fight again fairly soon, so he's feeling good. And that was a big, long 5-round fight against an elite fighter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And there'll be no baseball, so that would be good.
What's going on with baseball?
They have a lockout. They
I
shut
saw
down.
you were getting pissed.
I was getting pissed.
Which is rare. I'm like, Tom, Papa is hate tweeting.
I know my one angry post was about baseball. I
And
just
the price
hate,
of hot dogs.
I hate greed.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, These sons of I love baseball so much. And
What's the dispute?
It's between the owners and the players, and there's different. I don't know. I don't even know.
You don't know?
No, I don't know the ins and outs.
But
I
yeah,
just
you're
know
tweeting about it.
I just know get your shit together.
Wow.
And open up baseball. We stuck with you through this stupid ass pandemic, through everything. These families have.
Here it is.
It's all
major
greed.
matters such as the competitive balance tax thresholds, the minimum salary, and the size of the new pre-arbitration bonus pool leaves the sides with a significant distance between their proposals. Boy, good luck getting America behind competitive balance tax thresholds, the minimum salary, and the size of new pre-arbitration bonus pool. People are going to be like, what? Where the fuck are the hot dogs?
That's exactly my reaction.
Yeah.
It's just like, I want to meet my friends on opening day. Get your shit together.
So is it possible they're going to work this out, or is it over?
It seems like opening day is going to be shut. And will they work it out and save the season? Perhaps. But they were already knocking off some weeks, which is so dirty and gross. It's just gross.
It is gross.
It's such a huge. The money is so huge, and these. I mean,
right. But if you're a player and you realize that the owners and the coaches are making way more than the players, which is understandable, but there's like some negotiation room, and then the owners aren't willing to negotiate, and minimum salary is low.
Yep.
And, I don't know.
Yep.
I just guess.
No, I know. I mean, I'm sure someone is more at harm than others. I don't know who, but get your shit together and realize that you've got a fan base, and you've got these families that scrape together stuff to go and keep on this tradition. It's just ugly and gross.
Yeah, if I was them, I'd be worried that people would wake up and realize that baseball is boring. What? Did I say that? Who said that? Who said that?
Don't give us time to think about it.
Who said that? It's relatively boring.
I love it so much.
Well, it's an American pastime.
It's an American pastime. There's a lot tied to it.
Dude, people live for that shit. My grandfather lived for the Yankees.
My grandfather, too.
Lived for
They were
those
probably
games.
around the same age.
Yeah, probably.
In the same area.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved talking about it with him. He was just, it was the best.
Yeah, I loved it when I was a kid until I started doing martial arts.
Yeah.
I found martial arts because of baseball. That's how I found Taekwondo.
Why?
Went to a Sox game. Went to see the Red Sox at Fenway Park, and me and my friend Jimmy were on our way home, and we had to wait for the T, the local transportation system, and there was a big-ass line. So we walked past this martial arts school, and I said, let's go see what's up. And we walked in, and as I was walking up the stairs, I was hearing this crazy sound, like whump, and then a chain clanking. I was like, what is going on up there? And it was this guy. His name was John Lee, and he became a mentor to me later on. I fought on the same team as him. And he was the national champion at the time, and he was preparing for, I think it was the World Cup.
Wow.
And
you just wandered in.
I just wandered in. I wandered in watching like one of the best on earth in peak condition in the middle of training.
Jeez.
And I remember watching him kick the bag thinking, I want to be able to do that. And he was doing that, the thing that you saw me kick the bag, the spinning back kick, that's what he was doing.
Jeez.
And that's probably definitely how I fell in love with that kick.
Wow.
Which became like my signature kick. Because I wanted to do what he did. I couldn't believe the amount of power he was generating.
It is impressive to watch. Watching you do it is just like, whack.
And
it's the sound. The sound is the thing that gets you.
I'm so slow compared to what I was when I was like 19.
Really?
Oh, yeah, man. When I was 19, I was so fast at that.
Jeez.
Also, I weighed 155 pounds. I was a lot smaller.
Right.
But
you're still fat. I mean, it's still fast.
Relatively.
It's still a big, loud whack.
It's a lot of noise. I'm just happy that I could still, at 54, that I could still do it. Because I was worried that as I was getting older, like, there's going to come a time where I'm going to be physically limited. And
Sure.
I've managed to stave that off. I've managed to hold that off.
Yeah, I mean, one injury in any part of your body that needs to participate in that, and it's over.
A lot of things have to be moving in coordination, knees and hips and back and turn and force and ankle.
It's like when I fell on the ice. That's exactly what happened.
Basically, you're an athlete. But I found that gym because of a baseball game. And that's also what led me to stop taking baseball seriously.
Right. Right. Yeah, I just like it. It's just the pace is great. I have so many traditions around it. I meet up with my buddies from high school. And
the pace is great. So you like it slow.
I do like it slow. And
you
then
like
there's
soccer?
action because it builds. It builds. It's that thing.
Do you like soccer?
I do, but I don't really watch it. Like when the World Cup comes around, I get into it and think, I should be watching this all the time.
Yeah.
But I've never been like into the leagues and all that stuff.
There are certain dudes that when the World Cup comes around,
Yeah.
they get really annoying.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they know everything.
There's
And
certain guys that are like a little too enthusiastic about letting you know
right.
that they like soccer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I totally know what you mean.
It's a little virtue signally. It's a little I'm wearing 2 masks. It's you know?
Yeah.
You know the type of guy?
Yeah, this is my team.
Yeah.
This is what I do.
Yeah.
No, I know exactly what you mean.
It's the type of guy who pronounces the names of countries like with a roll of the tongue, a little too exaggerated.
Right.
Guadalajara, Argentina. You know, they
Yeah,
say
and
names
you're
of
white.
cities. Yeah, they go too hard. And you're
Yeah.
from Denver. Like, settle the fuck down, buddy. Those are the guys that get so excited about the World Cup.
Yeah. Yeah, and they know a couple names. They just
Yeah,
need
they're faking it.
All you need in sports talk to try and like put a little bravado is just know a hair more than the person you're talking to.
Exactly.
So if you could throw a couple names that guy doesn't know, you're the man.
Phonies are gross.
Phonies are so gross.
Phonies are gross. And I run into phonies. Like, there's only one sport where I can spot a phony. I mean, I kind of smell the phony with World Cup. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like how you're talking. I smell phony.
I don't know what it is, but it ain't true.
But with MMA, I love talking to phonies.
Right.
Because they'll bring up stuff. That's the one sport that you go, Don't try that shit with me.
Right.
I'm the wrong guy.
I got you.
Because I got it covered. And so, like, the phonies would try to break out, like, data and facts. I'm like, stop now.
Yeah.
You would need a decade of heavy research to be able to just have a conversation with me about this. So shut the fuck up. 'Cause they
What is that thing?
I don't know what that phony
What
thing
is that thing?
Oh, my God.
Why can't you just admit that you don't know that much?
Some guys want to pretend they know everything.
Yeah.
And it's a weird thing when you're talking about like a sport, because like sports involve so much. Like, think of the World Cup. Think about how many players there are, and so many teams, and how many
history.
Oh my God,
the whole thing.
It's the #1 sport in the world.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna be a phony in that, like, you know, who's a legitimate soccer expert is Ian.
Yeah.
Ian Edwards.
Ian, yeah. He lives it.
He lives it.
Yeah.
He has a soccer podcast.
Right.
Like, Ian's not remotely. Ian's going to come here, and we're going to go see one of the, because Austin has a professional soccer team. So there's Matthew McConaughey's one of the owners, and a friend of mine is one of the other owners, and we're going to go watch a game, and then we're going to do a podcast about it afterwards where I ruthlessly mock him. But we've been talking about doing something like that for a while, like watching
great.
a soccer game and then doing a podcast.
That's really great.
But Ian doesn't have. He has zero phony in his body.
No.
There's
Oh,
nothing
my
in there.
God.
Nothing in there.
No.
He's the last person to pretend he knows something. He'll pretend he doesn't know something.
He's the guy who gets quiet when someone else is acting a fool about it.
Exactly.
And just like, starts clocking it. Did you see that fight that happened over the weekend at that soccer match was it Mexico?
No.
Huge fight.
Brawl?
Brawl.
Oh no.
Brawl, like huge. They had to shut the whole thing down. They had to evacuate people from the stadium.
Oh no.
No, it was big.
At least 26 injured as fight breaks out amongst fans at Mexican soccer game. Wow. But that's on CNN. It might have never happened. Wow, look at this. They're throwing haymaker. Oh, he's eye poking.
It
How
spilled
rude.
onto the field.
Look at that move. The double eye poke.
Look at his belly sticking out. Yeah.
Duck under and the eye poke. Just extend the hands. And then the other guy doesn't know what the fuck he's doing either. It's never ceases to amaze me how people who don't know how to fight are so willing to fight.
Is there video of it?
Oh, here we go.
Because it spilled out onto the
3
field.
critically injured. Wow.
In Mexico
Tell
City.
you what, bro. Mexicans have a long history of combat sports.
Look at it, Joe. The whole stadium is just flooded with people just...
It looks like people are just running to me. I guess
Look
there's
at that
sort of
guy
a fight
kicking,
there.
punching.
What are they fighting over? That guy kicked and then fell down himself. And then he fell down and he hit it. Oh, my goodness.
Look at that guy with the chair.
Oh, my goodness.
They're on the field. They're beating each other with chairs. A lot of guys with no shirts on.
That guy looks so hammered with the chair. He doesn't even know who to hit.
He doesn't. He just found a
He
chair.
kind of barely tapped that guy with the chair. And he's like, no, this is too much. He walked away. He didn't keep swinging. He tapped the guy with the chair. He was like, what am I doing? I'm going to kill somebody? I got a job. I got a family.
I found a
fuck?
chair.
22 hurt.
Look
No,
at it. I mean, it's insane.
Look at him with the chair. Watch the guy with the chair. He's got it up in the air. I'm gonna fucking hit some.
Who but
I'm gonna get out of here.
Jeez, I gotta go find my car.
Go back to the beginning because when he was doing it, like he did hit somebody. No, back up a little bit because he hit somebody with the chair. There was one moment. Here he goes. Watch. He moves forward. I'm gonna hit somebody. Look at this.
Oof.
He kind of hit him in the butt. Nothing serious. He's got this. I'm threatening people with this chair. Fuck it. And he walks away. Fuck it.
I gotta go home. What am I doing?
Have you ever been like where a brawl takes place, where something happens and a brawl breaks out in the crowd?
I've been at there was like a
There's a weird feeling in the air when those
Totally.
things happen, where you feel like kind of anything can happen.
when you don't know what's happening, but
Yes.
the energy shifts and everyone's looking in a direction
Yes.
and you don't know what it is, but you feel it.
Well, it gets scary. Oh shit, that guy got laid out. Oh my god, that guy's bleeding all over the place.
No, it
oh,
was
they must have
nasty.
stomped him.
No, like the
Oh, this family running away. That's horrible.
horrible. You just take your kids to see a game, and this is what happens.
Look out. Back to those pictures, Jamie. I mean, go scroll down the next one. That guy is fucked. That one right there. I mean, that guy is probably
Look
dead.
at his arm. His arm's going in 3 different directions.
His arm's fucked for sure. That guy's got a broken arm. Yeah, and then the other guy, the blood that's coming out of his head
God.
Oh.
It was like
Many of these
right at
people-
the end of the game.
were actually presumed dead.
None of them, you said?
It said many of
many.
the people were presumed dead. Understandably, when you see some of the stuff,
Oy.
and unconfirmed reports out of Mexico stoked even more, claiming several fatalities emerged from the brawl.
Awful.
Fuck,
I
man.
know. Come on. Keep it together.
Soccer.
God.
Soccer.
And, I would say, well, the good thing about baseball being boring is that you don't get this, but there was another problem with the Dodgers and this. Look at the amount of people on the field. The Dodgers and the Giants. Someone always gets really messed up in the parking lot.
Yeah, sports.
Sports.
Well, sports are basically a proxy of war, right?
Right.
It's kind of like it's like fake war.
Yeah, it's like a replacement.
Yeah, it's like a replacement of
Yeah.
war. Yeah, it's like when the Raiders are gonna play the Dolphins.
Yeah.
It's basically now it's Vegas, right?
Right.
Vegas, right? It's
Yeah.
basically Florida is going to war with Las Vegas.
Right, exactly. And we get it out of our system in an hour and a half.
That's what it was invented for. That's what football was actually invented for.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, there was an article I read about, I think we might have even talked about it on the podcast at one point in time, about how football was invented to be to give people something to do that was like a replacement for war.
Right. When they were in between, when there was no war to fight.
Yeah, and in the beginning of it, a lot of it was like Native Americans playing.
Oh,
Like some of the best early players were Native Americans.
right.
Yeah, I was reading this whole thing about the history of football. I wish I
Mm-hmm.
could remember more details, but again, I don't really follow football either. So
Yeah.
I casually was glancing at this article and then I gave up on it.
Yeah, but when you see how people are so passionate by it, it's like, well, would Cleveland be marching on Pittsburgh if they didn't have the Browns and the Steelers? Like, would all these young men be just...
I think you need to
Right?
give people things like that to do.
Yeah.
I think legitimately, when you get an enormous mass of people like the
Yeah.
United States is, United States is 300 and whatever million
Huge.
people. They need some things that they can root on.
Yeah.
They root for, and they need some things that are like very important and serious to them.
Yeah. It takes you out of your everyday.
Yeah.
It takes all that aggression and puts it towards something.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does.
Were you ever a hockey fan?
No.
I was a hockey fan for a while. And then,
What happened? They did you wrong?
yeah, they just went into... I was with the Rangers like as a kid, and then they won the cup, and it was like this huge thing. And then for the next like decade, they were just so bad. It was just like
So you're a fair weather fan? Is that what you're trying to say?
it was pretty fair. Yeah, I guess so. I didn't just show up when they won the cup, but I bailed at a certain point.
Well, when that one day that I went to see the Red Sox game, then
Yeah.
I got into Taekwondo. From that day on, all I really cared about was martial arts, combat sports. That's
Yeah.
really all I was interested in. I was always interested in boxing. I always was a big boxing fan.
Right.
But then I got really into martial arts, and that became my obsession. So I
Right.
didn't watch any sports after that.
Right. No, you were
Nothing.
doing it. You were
Yeah.
participating.
But it's also like the stuff that I watched. I'd only watch combat sports. I'd watch boxing or kickboxing
Right.
or There was no MMA at the time.
And no YouTube, by the way.
Yeah, nothing. But I would get VHS tapes.
Right.
You get VHS tapes back when the VHS came out.
Yeah.
And I would record, like, say if Marvin Hagler was fighting on HBO,
Oh,
I'd
man.
record it and watch it later, play
God,
it
was he
back.
good?
Oh my God.
Oh,
It's
my
amazing.
God.
Did you find anything on the origins of football?
I remember I think there's two different stories there there's definitely a story about the Native American roots in football, I know,
Yeah.
because there was it's like how Jim Thorpe got involved.
Oh, right.
Right. You ever
Right.
see the picture of Jim Thorpe when he was running in the Olympics?
No.
And he had one shoe that was a shoe that he found, and it didn't fit him right, so he had to put like two socks on, like, yeah, and he won.
And he
Won
won?
the gold medal.
Oh, my
like
God.
fucked up shoes. Yeah, and they were like shoes.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
were
like dress
shoe-
shoes?
Yeah, they looked like shoes. Like that's
Oh,
all.
jeez.
That's all people had back then. Like
Right.
the shoes they ran in.
Yeah.
Like look at the image of them. Like look.
Oh, my God.
Looks
It's
like
like
it
a
barely fits
wingtip.
him. Yeah. I mean, it looks like it fucking barely fits him. Jim Thorpe, legendary Native American athlete, had his shoes stolen just before he was about to compete in the Olympics. He found a mismatched pair of shoes in the trash can and went on to win a gold medal wearing them. He was also the first Native American to win a gold medal for the United States.
Wow.
Let's show a picture of his face. Like, that is a hard man.
Yeah.
That's a guy who's not going to get stopped by a fucking pair of shoes,
God.
you know?
He should have played Batman.
Well, he's dead. Look at look
Oh.
at his shoe there. Look at the vintage shoe.
Yeah. It's, oh, my God.
That's what they ran in.
It's just like a piece of leather.
It looks like there's some kind of traction on the bottom.
Yeah.
Something, some kind of thing on the bottom, I guess.
God. You think about just the stuff that like regular people could wear now compared to that.
Oh, no.
God,
Oh,
everything.
no.
Like everybody had like one pair of pants, one shirt, one sweater.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was it. Whenever they show like baseball games and you show it, like, wow, they really dressed back then.
Mm-hmm.
They wore suits and ties to the baseball game. That's all they had.
Right.
It wasn't casual clothes. You weren't putting on board shorts and
Well, it was also a big
t-shirt.
event. To go to something like that was a big event. There was no television.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Did you ever see, there was a thing we watched the other day. It was when Jack Johnson fought Jim Jeffries in Reno, Nevada. And you looked out at the audience. First of all, there was no ladies there.
Right.
It was almost all men.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone was dressed in a suit with a hat on.
Right.
And we were watching this. We were saying, like, imagine if you were a hat maker back then. You're like, this business is never going away. Like, look at the audience.
I know.
Everyone has a
Wow.
hat on.
Well, it's probably fucking sunny as shit, right?
Oh, for
4th
sure.
of July in Reno.
For sure.
You know what changed the hat? You
What?
know what put it out of fashion?
No.
JFK.
What?
Yeah.
What?
When he came on the scene, he didn't wear a hat and he looked so great and he had that head of hair.
Really?
And that changed the fashion and yeah, hats fell out of favor
No kidding.
after Kennedy. Yeah.
He was the guy?
Yep.
No
they talk
shit.
about it all the time. I love hats. I wear hats because I'm bald.
Oh, look at that. The beautiful hat. I
Yeah.
like that hat. But look at the image. I mean, that is
That's amazing.
everyone.
Every single person.
Everyone has a hat on.
And there was etiquette and there was rules. You took your hat off when you saw a lady. You took a hat off when you went inside somewhere.
They all have the same kind of hat, too.
Yeah, isn't that
Basically.
funny? All a white hat because they're all outside.
Yeah, I guess so. And this
Yeah.
was a famously hot day.
It looks it.
Yeah. Pretty crazy.
Pretty crazy.
I think this is the article about the football
Oh,
team you were talking
Native American team that revolutionized football.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
There wasn't even a lot of forward passing back then. I remember this. I think it's the coach Carlisle Indian School, 1879,
Right.
and that had to do with Pop Warner too. That's a big guy in the history of football.
It's a whole long thing, but what does it have to do with the military? There was a different story
Well,
about.
yeah. So then that's the other part of where I thought like you're maybe mixing two things up. There's like a history of just the strategy of football as like a Army Navy. It was a big thing back. Like they would compete to do like strategies and just have stuff to do in the off time.
Here, listen to this. Pratt knew that nothing could stop the westward expansion of whites, and he knew the Native American way of life was coming to an end. Fearing that Native Americans might actually die out, Pratt opened up the Carlisle School to save them from extinction.
Wow.
The idea was to teach Native American youth how to survive in this strange new world. Wow. Of course, Pratt wasn't interested in preserving their culture. After convincing parents to send their children to Pennsylvania, Pratt gave his students haircuts, instructed them in English, and ordered them to dress as white people. After all, his motto was, kill the Indian, save the man. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I got really into Native American history about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, and I read a series of books, and one of them was Black Elk Speaks. It was about this guy who what's so funny?
This is how he changed the game. Like, part of the way that there were rules in football, because of this. I read that out loud. And
Oh, sorry. During the game, one of the boys tucked the football into that elastic band and what? Elastic bands inside their jersey, creating something of a pocket. During the game, one of the boys tucked the football into that elastic band and ran down the field with the ball under his jersey. As he sprinted down the field, the Harvard team was completely lost, unsure of who had the ball until it was too late. Furious, the Ivy League teams were constantly changing the rules to stop Pop Warner's trick plays, which, oddly enough, essentially gave us the rules of modern-day football.
they were almost like cheating,
But
not really, because there's no fucking rules.
Right,
They were like,
right.
all right, change the rules.
It's a little
Do it
bit
again.
of Little Rascals.
That's a little bit like the war stuff and getting into
A little
that.
shenanigan-y.
Yeah.
Right.
This Black Elk Speaks book, one of the things that this guy, I read two books by him about him, and it details he was one of the Native Americans that was alive when they roamed the plains and then lived through them being forced into reservations.
Okay.
And what happened with particularly like the young men and children, how they were indoctrinated into white people ways and taken from their families and cut their hair and tried to teach them how to behave like the white settlers.
Yeah.
If you think
It's
about like this
rough.
guy worrying that they were going to be brought to extinction, like that came so close. What is that photo? Is that that's
It's
Black
always-
Elk Speaks. That's the book.
Oh, that's
It's an a biography rather.
There's always those were always unsettling pictures from back then, photos when you saw them all of a sudden in suits and ties.
Yeah,
It was just like, this is so
it's wild.
unnatural for them.
Well, you know what killed the most of them was disease.
Right.
90% of all Native Americans died from disease.
Really?
90%. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. It's the Europeans were when they came over, they had all these disgusting colds and bugs and fucking smallpox.
Smallpox,
And
yeah.
they just
Oof.
burned through the entire continent.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. Imagine a disease that kills 90% of the people and there's no cure.
Yay.
Nothing. There's nothing you can do.
Good
So
Lord.
imagine if you visit a place and there's 1 million people, like the Mayans, like you would visit Chichen Itza, 1 million people, thriving metropolis. You come back in 50 years, there's no one. It's abandoned.
Jeez.
Like imagine that.
So scary.
Like you want to bring your children. This is the place that I saw. I'm telling you, they're all wearing gold. It's the
Right.
shit.
It's
You
amazing.
go way
here.
out of your way to get there.
You're going to love it.
You get there, no one's there. No one. It's
Oh,
gone.
it's terrifying.
Abandoned. They abandoned so many of those cities.
Yeah.
You know?
Have you ever seen those ruins? I've never gone to
I've
those.
seen one. I've
Yeah?
seen. I went to Chichen Itza.
Was it cool?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing, and it's so complex. Like when you're walking around it, and you think about how much like design is involved and the implementation and where are they getting these rocks from and how are they cutting them and how are they. Have you ever seen like Chichen Itza, the layout?
Yeah. Well, not the whole thing. Like I've seen the pyramid things.
Oh my God, it's amazing. And on top of that, there's like these. They had ritual human sacrifice, so they had these like tables where it's like a guy's body, like he's like the table is almost like he's laid out, like looking like this, and the flat part of the body, whereas like his torso was stone, and that's where they would kill people.
Oh my
They would
God.
kill people on that and cut their fucking hearts out on this thing in front of everybody.
Jeez.
And then they played soccer. They played like a game. It wasn't soccer, but it was like some kind of crazy game. And sometimes they would use a human head. This is part of the speculation that they were kicking this fucking human head around.
Jeez, I wonder why it didn't all work out.
Yeah. There was
Human
also
head for soccer.
But there's so little about that culture I mean, the scholars know quite a bit in comparison to the regular people. Regular people do, but I mean, even their knowledge of this culture is fairly limited compared to like what we know about, say, like the Greeks or the Romans or something like that.
Do you think there are cultures that we just don't even know about that are like under the sea, maybe, or?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably what all this Amazon stuff, I mean, not Amazon, Atlanta stuff is all about. There was something that was very, very complex.
Right.
That was thousands of years ago that was wiped out by asteroids.
Right.
That's what Randall Carlson believes. There's actually a theory about it. It's called the Younger Dryas Impact Theory. And it coincides with the very rapid end of the Ice Age. The Ice Age ended very rapidly.
Yeah.
And it ended somewhere around 12,000-ish years ago. It's all in that range. And they think that this guy, Randall Carlson, has studied this his whole life. And he was a guest pretty recently.
Oh, yeah.
He's been on multiple times, but he was on pretty recently. And there's all sorts of features in the earth that you can show that indicate massive amounts of water that had gone through an area in a very short, like millions and millions and millions of gallons of water that's gone through an area in a very short period of time.
What would that mean?
Carved through the landscape of instantaneous melting of the polar ice caps, or rather the ice caps over North America.
Right.
Yeah, North America, during the Ice Age, like more than half of North America, like all of Canada, was covered in a mile-high sheet of ice.
Wow.
And that shit was all wiped out like almost instantaneously. Yeah. And
By what?
Asteroid impacts.
Oh.
Yeah. And so this is how they can tell, because of this is what's fueled this Younger Dryas impact theory. They've always wondered, like, what caused the extinction of a giant percentage of all the megafauna, like there was a North American lion, there's a giant sloth, woolly mammoths. They all died off very quickly in this area. And they think that also has to do with this impact theory. And that they found when they do ice core samples, or core samples of the Earth, when they dig down, they get to the area around 12,000 years, what they find is a large amount of what's called iridium. Iridium is very, very rare on Earth, but very common in space. And it most likely indicates that is the time period where the Earth was bombarded.
Right.
So
pummeled.
And so they think that has to do with a lot of like the really complex structures that they find in ancient Egypt and Turkey, and a lot of these areas that are inexplicably old for like how complex they are. And so they would always try to attribute them to more recent peoples. But this would sort of wrap that up better. Yeah. That people at one point in time had reached a very high level of sophistication, and then were basically knocked back to the Stone Age for 1,000 years or so.
Oh,
and
wow.
Then civilization rebuilt itself.
Jeez.
So when they're
cool
talking
theory.
about things, it's a very cool theory. So, but it's very scary, because that means that could happen to us.
Well, yeah, I know that. You don't have to bring that up. Yeah, no, that is terrifying. Like, all of a sudden, you're back to sticks and fire.
Well, that could happen. You want some of this?
God, what is it?
Coffee.
Oh, yeah.
It could happen.
I
Do you
know.
smoke cigars, Tom?
I do.
Do you want one?
I would love one,
Hey,
actually.
let's get crazy.
That's a great idea.
Let's get crazy.
That is an awesome idea. I haven't had a cigar in quite some time. Really? Yeah. Do they come from Cuba?
No.
Nicaragua?
Nicaragua. They're actually JRE cigars. Look at that.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, there's a company called Foundation Cigars. They make awesome cigars.
Oh, beautiful.
And they made a special cigar for us.
Oh, that's
really
so
good.
nice of them.
Yeah, they're fucking good too.
It's a beautiful thing.
I
Thank
don't
you.
know enough about cigars to like comment on what.
Just make it up like the sport thing. Just start saying some stuff. All you have to do is sense that the guy you're talking to knows even less than you do. Thank you. You know, right?
Yeah, but that's what people do, right? That is the move. That's the World Cup guy move. There's fucks.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It is a weird thing, though, to want people to think that you're more knowledgeable than you are.
I know.
It's one thing to think you know something but be wrong. Like, I thought that was right. But another thing is like to pretend that you know things.
But you know what? Sometimes when you just admit that you don't know stuff, people act like you're not shit. Like if you were like, "Oh, so who is that guy that Is that guy a good defensive end?
Oh, you don't even know?
Jesus.
Fucking idiot.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. There is that thing. Like, you got to kind of protect yourself at times.
Bro,
So
that would be
sometimes
me.
you got to bullshit
If
yourself.
I went to a football game with some people, I'd be
Yeah.
like, why'd they stop?
Right?
How come they're stopping? What's the whistle? Why does
Yeah.
that guy have a whistle? How about that little man with the striped shirt? What if he gets run over? He's out there.
They're like, what's wrong with you? They're like, oh, I thought you were cool. I thought you were one of us.
I remember reading this story.
You want to
about
belong.
NBA referees that would shave points. They were
Really?
corrupt.
Yeah, the one guy, right?
The guys went to jail.
Yeah.
Didn't they, Jamie? You knew about all that stuff, right? Oh, yeah. Guys went to jail, didn't they?
Yes, he sure did.
Yeah. I remember that guy.
Actually, just as you're saying, this was an NFL player today suspended for a year for betting on NFL games.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dirty.
Wait a minute. Why can't you bet on a game
That you're in?
if you're not in it?
There's a lot you could do to manipulate the points when it's one play that can change the game.
Well, if you're not in it.
But if you're not playing.
No, that's not. He's in the game.
Yeah,
Okay,
but your old roommate from college is playing.
Right, and he can tell you if someone's hurt.
I think
Yeah.
you can bet on the game that you're not in.
But why can't you bet on a game that you're in if you're betting to win? Like, we're going to fuck them up. I'm so confident I'm going to bet money.
I don't know that that's
No.
what was happening.
That's
but,
Pete Rose, right?
I mean,
No, Pete Rose bet the other way, though.
He did?
Yeah, Pete Rose apparently bet the other way.
He did.
Which is
I love this
I think
label.
isn't that dope?
This band, rather.
I'll get you some of those. I have a
I
few
think
of them.
he said he never did.
I thought he said he did.
I thought he didn't bet against us. I thought that was like his thing. Like,
Yeah,
no,
I thought
hey,
so
I didn't
too.
bet against us.
I thought so too. And then I read an article.
Oh,
that said,
really?
contrary to popular belief, Pete Rose bet against his team, which is which means.
So Barry Bonds is never going to be in the Hall of Fame.
That might not be true.
Yeah, no, I'm actually looking
might
at what
not
happened
be.
with this player, too. It says a league investigation uncovered no evidence indicating any inside information was used or that any game was compromised in any way.
So
There
he
was
just,
no evidence suggesting any awareness by coaches, staff, teammates, or any other players of his betting activity. It took place during a 5-day period in late November while he was away from the team and away from the club's facility on the non-football illness list.
and he was betting for his team.
I honestly don't know that part now. It doesn't say.
Find out if Pete Rose bet against his team, because if not, we're gonna have to edit that out. I don't want Pete Rose to be mad at me.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong, I mean, I could be wrong. I do remember reading that, but
Yeah.
the thing is, I've read shit about me that's not true. So maybe
Right.
they're writing things about him that's not true.
Yeah, even the thing we're about to look up might not
Yeah,
be.
so he said in the book he never bet against the Reds.
Right. I
But
thought so.
He was
But-
making bets, I believe, in a way that maybe he was managing the team, so he could have done things to manipulate stuff, like by playing a player to win the game real hard tonight, fucking up tomorrow's game.
Uh-huh.
Playing a pitcher to get the strikes.
But did he? Oh, I see. So he fucked the team by betting. So he didn't make strategically wise decisions because he was trying to cover a point spread.
And again, that's probably why he got in trouble. Whether or not that actually happened or was speculation,
Right.
I think that's where I'm like, I wasn't even alive then, so I don't.
Well, that's why betting on it, all these questions come up. That's why you can't do it.
Would you just look up Pete Rose actually did bet against his team?
I look. So I'm 100% looking quotes from Pete Rose. Quote from
Right.
Dan Patrick's show. I bet on my team every night. I didn't bet on my team 4 nights a week. I bet on my team to win every night because I loved my team. I believed in my team. I did everything in my power every night to win that game.
So the story that I read that said that he didn't bet on his team, that he bet against his team, that's horseshit.
Probably, but that's people.
According
I
to
don't know.
him.
Yeah, it's like people don't. I don't think they believe him because they would say, "Of course you're saying that."
Yeah.
Right.
According to him.
The problem is, I don't know how many gambling junkies you've ever met. Do you know any?
Not really.
I've known quite a few that have real problems, and those motherfuckers will come up with any reason at all to gamble, and they're sick. It's like. Do you remember when Kitty Dukakis was drinking aftershave or some
Right.
shit?
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
She was so sick.
So-
she was alcoholic, and she was
Yeah.
so sick that she was drinking like whatever she could find.
Yeah.
That's a thing with the gamblers.
Do you think that-
it's a sickness?
Do you think that how do you feel about gambling being now available to everybody all over the country?
I think people need lessons in how to manage their thought process. And I think gambling is exciting, and it's like when I was in Vegas a few months ago with Whitney Cummings,
Here's probably
Rose did not bet
issue.
on the Reds to win in the 4 games. Here it is. The 4 that Rose didn't bet on, the Reds were all started by Bill Gullickson. The problem comes when you realize this. If he bet the Reds to win every night, when the 4 nights he didn't bet on the Reds would send up a gigantic red flag. The gamblers would know that Rose wasn't betting on the Reds, so this may be the right time to bet against them. You might say Rose was still trying to win those games, and yes, maybe he was, but if you take a closer look at the games in question, it becomes even more disturbing.
and they break down each of these games in question.
So he might
Yeah.
have bet against his team.
It's too many questions. It's just too much, you know.
Or
There's-
just even by not betting, maybe he's paying back a debt to somebody he owed money to, and like,
Right.
I'll not bet here, but you can
right.
make your money.
right.
Right, you can make money here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
lots-
that's the thing when guys get into hawk with loan sharks and shit like that, it gets
Forget
super
it.
sketchy.
Oh my God.
I knew a comic, and this was a comic in Boston, and he worked for the mob because there was the mob ran one of the clubs in town. And when I say the mob, I mean like legitimate, like you get paid in coke or cash, up to you. Like
Really?
these are this kind of situation, and this guy was a gambling addict, like a hardcore addict, and he was placing bets for these mobsters, but they would make bad bets, stupid bets, and one of the times they won, and it turned out he wasn't really placing the bet because he thought that they were going to lose all the time, so he would just take their money,
Oh no.
and so they were, gambling a lot of money, and then he didn't have the money, and then they found out that he wasn't really placing the bet.
Oh, what happened to him?
I don't know.
Is he gone?
He's alive.
He is.
He left Boston though.
Oh,
He had to leave Boston.
Oh my God.
And then he's
That's a movie.
He did a bunch of sketchy shit in Vegas too. Like he was a gambling addict and he lived in Vegas, and he got his next door neighbor to lend him some money, and she's some little old lady, and he fucked her over the money.
Jeez.
It was like a whole story written about him.
It's a
In like
sickness.
it's a sickness.
It is.
It was a story in a newspaper about him. It's like being a heroin addict.
Yeah. And we've known that forever, and you had to travel to Vegas or you had to travel to Reno or Atlantic City, and now you can just open up your phone,
Right.
and anyone can do it.
But they have gambling Gamblers Anonymous, where you can learn how to not gamble.
Yeah.
Just like they have, like, people get addicted to everything, man. You
I know.
They get addicted to dieting. People get it. It's one of the things that happens to people. They get addicted to, like, there was a guy who died recently, and he was addicted to working out. More plates, more dates covered this guy. This guy he would sleep like 4 hours a day.
Right.
He worked out constantly. He maintained like a 5% body fat year round.
Jeez.
And his fucking heart gave out. And he was in his
Whoa.
20s.
Whoa.
He was in his 20s. So this guy's like ripped, looks like he's in phenomenal shape, literally worked himself to death.
There was an article in the paper yesterday, I think. Big Rexia.
Oh, yeah, right.
Big Rexia.
Right, sure.
The same thing. Like
Yeah.
young men are getting obsessed.
It's
with
body dysmorphia.
Putting on, yeah,
it's
right.
body dysmorphia. It could be you never feel like you're big enough, or you never feel like you're small enough. It's this basically the same kind of thing that's going on. It's you have a distorted perception of what you look like, and you think you look like shit, and everybody looks at you like you're like a gorilla,
Right.
And he thinks he's a toothpick.
He thinks he's, yeah. I guess I have a little of that. I picture myself as being really in shape.
I don't think that's the same. That's probably healthier. That kind of delusion, when you think you look good.
I'm sorry, what?
Delusion.
Delusion?
Delusion. It's not real. When you think you look good, if you think you look good but you look like shit,
Yeah.
that's probably better.
Probably better for you. Yeah.
Because you go through life like, I'm on cloud nine, baby.
yeah.
I got it going on, baby.
Let's get some pancakes for the table.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, here's one I read. I read a study that said, I'll send you this, Jamie, and tell me if this is real. A study that said that women prefer dad bods over ripped bods. It was in the Independent.
I believe that.
It said,
I told you this a while ago. You
I
made fun
believe
of me
that.
for bringing it up.
You don't
That
even
shit
have to
ain't-
go into the details.
shit ain't real.
That's true.
that shit ain't real.
They love a nice dad bod.
No, women say that because they don't want their husbands to feel bad. Survey confirms women prefer dad bods over six packs.
Yeah, every few months this comes out.
It's such a lie.
Horse shit.
It is a lie.
Horse shit.
It is true because my wife will be like, "You look good," and I'm like, "Come on, you look good."
No,
and
see,
then
it's
she'll
the emphasis on the word good.
Yeah.
Listen to the difference. Here's the difference. Ready? Hey, you look good. Or you look good.
right, exactly.
If she doesn't
'Cause
say
then
you look good,
You look good.
You don't look
Oh.
good. She's just trying to feel you don't look like a pile of shit.
You're my husband.
You look
and then
good.
we watch a movie, and then some guy will be on with his shirt off, and she'll be like, "Oh."
Yeah.
I'm like,
You
"All
can
right,
hear her
yeah."
vagina moistening.
Hey, that's my wife you're talking about.
You hear this. What's going on over there?
No, there is
All of
a
a sudden
big
my
difference.
glasses are steaming. Did you turn the humidifier on?
Yeah, and it's all different perspectives. You see pictures, yeah. Yeah. You see pictures when you're young and an athlete.
That's horseshit. They don't prefer a dad bod. That's not true.
It is not true.
It's not true.
No.
They might say it, but when they're
They're being
alone with their
nice.
friends, how'd you fill out the survey? I fucking lied. I don't want to hear it from George.
I don't want George to think he's gross. He's not gross.
He's not gross.
But he's not
gross.
hot.
I mean, I close my eyes and I pretend my high school boyfriend's fucking me. But
Oh, it's so
it's
sad.
not gross.
That's so
He's
sad.
a nice man. He's a good husband. He works hard. He doesn't have time to
He works
work out.
He's so good with the
He
kids.
doesn't have time to work out.
He's
He gets home from the office. He's exhausted.
so good with the kids.
I'd rather him just hang out with us. I don't want him going to the gym. I don't mind if he has a dad bod.
What workout do I have to do to get rid of love handles?
Just got to lose weight. Stop eating all this delicious bread you gave me.
All right. I'll keep them.
Yeah.
I have to say that thing you were with Cameron when you were doing
Cameron Haynes? Yeah.
the kettlebell
Yes.
thing. That looked like my wrist would snap.
Well, you got to build up to that.
That
Yeah.
under your legs, back up, and it was this end part.
Yeah, it's called the long. Well, you get used to doing that. It's
Uh-huh.
called the move is called the long count. And sometimes I add a body weight squat, a overhead squat to that too, which is even harder.
Yeah.
So what that is it's like 2 kettlebells in
Yeah.
between your legs, clean, press, and then when I'm feeling really frisky, go all the way down, squat, and then back up, and then again. Clean, press, squat.
Yeah, you were
that was
doing
just
this at
clean
the
press.
end too. You were putting
Yeah,
it
the
back.
that's what the thing about kettlebells is. You're swinging them, and it's really you get really accustomed to using them, and you know how to decelerate the bell so it doesn't bang against your forearms.
Right.
But some guys wear like a pad on their forearm so that the kettlebell can hit your. I have those. I don't use them generally, but I do have them where it'll hit your forearm because it doesn't hurt your forearm.
Right.
But kettlebells it's my favorite way to work out because I can work my whole body out. That's what's great about that.
Yeah.
Is if you do a thing like say if you play tennis or something like that, that translates that kind of strength because you're making your whole body work as a unit instead of like curls or something like that.
Right. Just isolating
Yeah.
that one muscle,
Yeah.
doing that one task.
Yeah, that's the only kind of workouts I do mostly. I mean, I do some stuff like I do dips, which is kind of isolating, and I do chin-ups, which is but most of the stuff I do is like these compound movements where there's a lot of things going on all at once. So my body knows how to coordinate weight.
I'm doing push-ups now.
Good for you. How many did you do in a row?
25. 100 in total.
That's great. So you do like 4 sets of 25?
Yeah.
Nice. That's a good amount.
Yeah, because
What is this?
I think this is the article that
Yeah,
this
that's the
came
article.
from, right?
majority of people prefer dad bobs to more toned.
Read the second paragraph, which describes how they got the data.
Okay. As reported by The Guardian, 75% of single people who took part in the survey conducted by Dating.com were said to prefer so-called dad bod type, a label that has been thrown at men who aren't considered to have the athletic beach body that we've all seen in movies. Of those who took the survey and believe themselves to have a dad bod, 45% of them admitted to putting hashtag dad bod in their bios as a way of showing off their proud physique.
So how many people that took the survey are dad bods are preferable because I fucking have one. Like half? More than half?
Right. That
They weren't
shouldn't
just
be for
asking
men.
girls. Or
Right. That should not be for men.
Right.
There's no way that should. If people say most people prefer a dad bod, that's deceptive.
Right.
Because you need to ask ladies when no one's around.
There you go, even too. That being said, 70% of them said they've been working out more in the past few months to get in better shape.
Well, that's the thing about dad bod. Dad bod gives you. It's not saying I'm gross and fat. It's saying I'm
saying it.
athletic, but I've got like that is the mentality, right?
Right. I got
it's
a little
not,
fat.
Yeah,
A
I
little fat.
was an athlete. I
Right.
played football 30 years ago.
I got a little chub on me.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't have men ask that. You know?
Yeah.
Like that you
No.
can't ask men that question.
No. Right.
It's just like here's another one that I found. Because this one might be even more preposterous because I read this one, I'm like, okay, they're grooming people. It was guys saying that they get together with their buddies and they cuddle and sometimes kiss. Straight men bromances kiss, cuddle, and stand around naked together. No, they don't. Those are gay guys. Nothing wrong with being gay.
Yeah.
But straight men
guys
who kiss, cuddle, and stand around naked together are gay. Those are gay guys.
Yeah.
Most likely.
Yeah.
A strong percentage.
Yes.
I mean, maybe some of them are like really open-minded and like, I'll kiss you.
There's
Tom?
like 3 of those. I don't know.
I'll kiss you right in the lips
Yes.
after this podcast is over. You and me
Pandemic's
with-
over.
Yeah, with coffee and cigar breath. I'll give you one right in the smacker. But if you want me to go tongue to tongue with you,
Oh. Yeah, and you're in another world. You're in another thing.
if you were gonna stand around naked together, like why are you standing around naked? Period. Put some clothes on, you fucking savage.
All right, so what about put on some pants?
What are you doing, man? What's this about?
So why are all of a sudden these guys having body issues? Like women have been talking about this forever, right? It's in magazines and stuff, and they've been
Because guys feel left out in the grind
right,
of fucking being objectified.
right. Hey, we feel bad too.
Hey, we're fucked over as well. I had a fucking argument with a guy about this once because men do try to find ways where they're victims too, and it's so dumb. And this fucking dummy literally said we were talking about like the plight that men have, and he goes, statistically speaking, men actually get raped more than women. I go, yeah, by other men, you fucking idiot.
Right.
Like, that's the dumbest thing.
Yeah, right.
All that means
like
is
women are running around
we're
doing
so
that.
gross we fuck each other. That's all that means. Is like the idea that somehow we're victims too.
Yeah.
Like there's fucking packs of cheerleaders out there raping football players.
Yeah.
Like that's not what's going on,
You
man.
just declared that men are even worse than we thought.
Yes, that's what you did. I had a bit about it back in the day. It's such a but men do like some weak men who don't want to admit that it's fucking hard to be a woman, man.
Right.
Like look, it's so hard. Women make a baby in their body. It takes forever. And then their body like gains all this weight. Their vagina gets destroyed as this baby comes out. They have all this healing they have to do afterwards. And in many
internally.
circles, they're expected to work full time.
Right.
Imagine.
Right.
Imagine you're raising a child. You got to handle the kid. You got to do, and then you got to leave your kid with someone you fucking barely know.
Right.
So you can work, and you got to compete with men and try to be this like.
And still menstruating once a month.
Oh my god.
Forget it.
Yeah.
Forget it.
And just imagine the resources required to grow a human in your body.
Right.
And imagine there's anything remotely comparable that a man has to do outside of war.
Just imagine all of the solutions we would have if men were the ones doing it. There'd be tanks. There'd be all of these different things.
How many abortions would there be?
Oh my God.
If guys got pregnant, phew,
Oh God. Yeah.
they would be everywhere. They'd be like Jiffy Lubes. They would be everywhere. Don't you think?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
This discussion would be this whole national debate
And all the moral dilemma about whether or not it's okay to have an abortion would go out the fucking
out
window.
the window.
Out the window.
No, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, guys are the worst.
Well, it's a testosterone thing. It's also like we have the genetics in us that are the same genetics as people that lived during savage times, thousands of years ago, were the exact same thing. We are the exact same version of human beings, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like if you took a person from 10,000 years ago and you put them in a movie theater and dressed them up like with a baseball hat on,
They blend right in.
They'd probably be smaller because they didn't have any food back then.
Right.
But they would be real similar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Real fucking similar.
No, we haven't really changed that much.
Very little.
Yeah.
We just have more access to good food, nutrition, but genetics, they say, take like 10,000 years to establish like really great changes in the genome.
Jeez.
In terms of like, obviously I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just saying words. That sound
I'm believing every word of it. I'm in. No, but it does make sense.
I mean,
because
we're much different.
No, we're not.
I don't think we're much different than people that lived in a time where everyone was killing everybody with a hatchet.
I know. That's what always blows me away. I always think they had to have been so different. Like when I just read stories about that, or like when you're talking about black elk and all this kind of stuff. No, they were you and I dealing with it. It was the same person, the same thing, but dealing with that set of circumstances.
Yeah.
It's bonkers.
It's crazy because that's one of the reasons why human beings have so much anxiety. And that's one of the reasons why we have so much violence inside of us. It's not because society demands you be violent. It's a lot of it is like we just have this leftover code that's in our bodies that is very confused as to why it's in a cubicle.
Right,
like,
right.
Why am I in traffic all day? Why am I in a cubicle?
Yeah.
Like, what is this? Is my body has requirements that it's not meeting.
No, I know.
Living like this.
Yeah, it's totally different. And then we're going to go into the metaverse, and we're going to do even less.
How long after Zuckerberg launches the metaverse do you join up?
A week.
I bet it's going to be so fun.
I'll tell you what.
Problem.
No dad bods in the metaverse.
Right. You're gonna
no
be
dad
jacked.
bods.
Right. Exactly.
Everyone's going to be hot.
The only time
Everyone's
a
gonna be
dad
hot.
bod's going to be hot is when food becomes like scarce. Like remember the Rubenesque women back in the day?
Right.
They
All
were
the
hot.
paintings of exactly.
Big old fat
It
ladies.
showed
were hot.
luxury, right?
Yes.
It showed wealth.
Yes, you could eat all you wanted, just sit around eating grapes. You're a woman of luxury.
I don't know. The metaverse, it sounds exciting and terrifying at the same time.
Dude, it's going to be so fun. That's what the problem is going to be. You and I are we're going to link up on the metaverse. You're going to be still trapped in LA like a fool. And I'll be out
LA's
here.
nice again.
I'll be out here in Freedom Town. Oh, LA's nice. People don't get arrested for anything. It's great. It's awesome. They just break in your house and loot you.
Well, there's a lot of crime, sure.
Oh, yeah. What a great thing to have around your whole family. Crime.
Well, there's crime everywhere.
Here, what is this, Jamie? What are you showing me here?
This is the new, I would call it a competitor to what the metaverse is. Let me put it
A
on the screen.
Viverse.
So this is augmented reality.
Right, so this is what the Vive is showing as what they're calling the Viveverse,
Oh.
Viverse.
based around the HTC Vive.
Okay,
and
I want you
things
to
they
look
have.
at that. Back that up again. Back that up a little bit. Look at the athlete on the left-hand side.
Yeah,
See that?
yeah.
That's what men want to look like.
Yes.
That's what women want. That's why she's not looking at her body. Notice she's looking at hot men. She's running, thinking about getting some gladiator dick. That's what she's thinking. She's thinking, I'm going to get a nice toned butt, and I'm going to get that big fucking savage look. Look. Oh, look how she shrunk down in the metaverse. Go back and look at that again. Before she did that, look at what she really looks like, and then watch this. Oh, she lost 80 pounds.
I liked her before.
Yeah, she looks like a little kid now.
Yeah, I liked her before. She looked great.
Go back to what she looked like. Yeah.
Yeah,
she looks like
she's
nice
cute.
looking gal.
Yeah. But you can do
She's
anything.
womanly.
Why? You don't even have to be a person.
Yeah, but she'd lost too much weight. Like if that was your wife, you'd be like, honey, have a sandwich.
Yeah, come on now.
Come on, honey, what are you doing? I don't like you this skinny.
I don't know. I don't know how. Well,
You look at they're all dancing.
you can go to a club. You can do anything. You could fly.
Yeah, you're having fun.
You can do all the stuff. You can buy.
You're a cat.
You
Grandma
can buy
sent an
stuff.
invitation.
You're a kitty cat.
I want to be a dog. I'd rather be a dog.
I'd rather be a dog.
I saw the pure joy that dogs have. I'm going to send you this, Jamie. This is like the funniest thing that I saw, or the happiest thing that I saw today. It made me. This is why. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why I love dogs, but
Of course.
this is one of them. I'm going to send you this, Jamie.
I had a good post of these 3 dogs taking a picture. I reposted from somebody. Did you see that? I don't know if it wasn't an elk. It looked like an elk. It looked like a smaller on what is the Nature is Metal running down the mountain.
Oh, that was a chamois.
Holy cow!
Yeah. That they live in the mountain. Watch this. Watch
My
this dog.
God.
She lets this dog out. Check this out.
Right,
This dog. She lets the dog out. Give me the volume because you can hear it. Watch
Into
this
a
dog.
pile of
Look at this
leaves.
dog. That dog is so happy.
He's so
He knows exactly what's going to happen. By the way, when I used to take Marshall running in the hills when I lived in California, I would let him out of the truck. He would immediately just start running.
take off.
He loved it. He was so happy.
Oh, my
But look at this
God.
dog. Just leap. That's
so
a joy.
great. So happy.
That's like dogs play.
I know.
I mean, cats play too, right?
I have a black lab, and she just wants to play
they're the best.
24 hours a day. And I feel so bad when you're just lazy and you're just sitting around. And she's like, gets a thing in her mouth, like, let's go.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Labs are the best. They're so nice.
so nice.
I have a golden retriever, but he's it's the same thing. They're both super sweet dogs.
So emotional and
Oh, yeah.
smart.
Sweet.
So sweet.
What's fucked is people turned them into that. Like all these dogs, at one point in time, you go down the genetic history, they used to be wolves.
Yeah.
There used to be a
Yeah.
wolf that came near the fire, and we gave him some food, and then they
Right.
eventually domesticated them, and then they turned them into poodles.
Yeah.
I mean, that is what, I don't know how the fuck they did it, and
I know.
we really don't know.
A lot of inbreeding, and we also have a pug, and that is not
boy.
really a dog.
They're the most inbred, right? Or whatever they are.
Oh my God!
Overbred.
You know, it's so funny when he's funny looking to begin with, and then if we're sitting outside in the sun, you can see all like everything. It's like you're a mess. His like little nose goes off to the side. His jaw is kind of weird.
Well, if you think
They're
about
lovable, but man,
this is what's happening to humans.
yeah.
I mean, this is why the conversation about a dad bod is even happening. Is because at one point in time, there wouldn't be any thought about it. Like, you want a Viking. A Viking is going to survive the war.
Right.
You know, you don't want...
But we don't need that anymore.
Yeah.
Now you go to the metaverse.
Right.
Yeah, and you sit around.
Yeah. Look at that little fella.
Yeah.
Hey,
Look at little Frank.
hey, look at that little fella. That one point in time, if you
That's my
follow-
dog.
If you follow that... Is that your dog? Your
That's
actual
my
dog?
Frank.
That's
yeah.
Frank? Oh,
yeah,
cute.
that's Frank.
He's a little cutie.
Yeah, he's so
if you
cute.
follow that dog's genetics, you go all the way back, you find a wolf. I mean, how many thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago,
Right.
that was a wolf.
Yeah.
And somehow or another, they turned it into a little tiny, flat-faced
Yeah.
little thing that can't
Yeah.
feed itself.
No, and they literally bred those dogs to cuddle with the humans. The emperors used to have these big sleeves, and they would be inside them and cuddle them, and that's what he is. Like if you watch TV, he just who's ever there. It's just whatever warm human being. He climbs up and just lays on you.
Yeah.
And it's just and you can't get up. Remember when your kids were really little and they would just lay on you? You couldn't even reach your phone because you didn't want to disturb them. It was so
Yeah.
peaceful and warm and beautiful.
Yeah.
That's what the pug does.
Yeah, it's weird.
Except he's snoring and slobbering at the same time.
There's no need for them to be ferocious. There's no need for them to have strong jaws that can crush bones anymore. So
No.
they slowly turned into what...
Right.
And that's what's happening to people.
Yeah.
That's what's happening to humans.
Yeah.
We used to be, like Neanderthals were like 5'5", 200 pounds, solid muscle,
Right.
dense bones, thick heads.
Yeah.
And then we slowly became, what you
Yeah.
see now. These
Right.
sort of doughy things that break their hips when they fall down.
Remember Wall-E? You remember
The
that
movie?
animated film?
Yeah.
That
I don't
was-
think I saw that.
it was
I think I saw
good.
part of it, and I don't think I saw the
Jeff
whole
Garland was the lead voice of the guy, and they were just in these. They were like baby people. They were just all chubby, and they were like in these little walkers, and they just laid there, and they had iPad kind of things around them. We are moving in that direction. They weren't that far off.
thing. The only thing that could save us is Putin.
Oh,
Putin in this war.
Oh,
Oh,
my-
yeah, there they are.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's us.
big sodas, glide around.
Humans are going in that direction. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, just soft mush balls.
And denying that that's unhealthy. That's what's really crazy.
Yeah.
This, like, the whole body acceptance movement and fat phobia, which is so crazy. It's so crazy. It's like here we are doing something unhealthy but awesome, smoking cigars, right?
It's really good,
Yeah,
by the way.
I love it. If we were smoking cigarettes or smoking all day, it'd be foolish for anybody to try to pretend that that's not bad for you.
Right.
It's bad for you.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
this
terrible.
is like marginally bad for you because you're not inhaling. You take a little, but you have a couple of cigarettes. Those are not good for you.
Nope.
You have a pack of cigarettes. That's not good for you. You have a pack a day. Like, ooh, you got a problem, Mike.
Yeah.
Like, how many years do you think you can go doing that?
No, I know.
You know?
I have a friend of mine who he says that he would just smoke a couple a day and he just had a heart attack. And that was the first question.
How old was he?
He's probably 65.
Does he drink too?
No, I don't think he's a drinker.
Overweight?
No, dad bod.
Yeah.
Like a little.
Sometimes 65-year-olds have heart attacks and they're not taking care of themselves.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't work out or do anything like that.
But your body slowly deteriorates.
Yeah,
my friend. It
yeah.
atrophies.
Of course.
You know, it atrophies. If you could see
Yeah.
like a time lapse of what you used to look like over like the course of like when you're 18 years old and full of piss and vinegar, and
Yeah,
then
oh my God.
slowly watch your body like expand,
know.
and your shoulders shrink, and,
I know.
and you shrink.
Yeah.
Your body shrinks too.
Yeah, I know.
You know, old people shrink. I'm shrinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm shorter than I used to be.
You are?
Yeah, my discs are less. There's less
Stuff
meat
between them?
in between my discs. I have some. They're way less significant now than they were before because I've taken care of it and done like a lot of therapies for them and Regenikine and stem cells, and I do spinal decompression because that's what like sciatica is. Like a lot of what sciatica is your disc is protruding because it's compressing, and your disc is pushing against the nerves, and you get that pain that goes down your leg. That's what that is. It's your discs. So that shrinks you.
Right.
Like as those discs compress, that disc like makes your space in between the two spinal columns. And as you see old people when they start to shrivel up like that, that's what's going on, is that all the disc material, it's posture, and it's also they lack the strength in their back and the strength in their their core to support themselves with a straight posture.
Yeah.
But when you see that slump, that's what's going on, man, is the disc is shrinking and it creates all this arthritis and pain.
Doesn't it feel like tech, like medical advancement, like we should be able to be getting out of this stuff?
Well, they kind of can,
soon?
but it's tricky. Like I was just talking to Michael Bisping, who was a former UFC middleweight champion who was on the podcast last week, and he has a artificial disc in his neck.
Yeah.
And that's because his discs compressed to the point where it was kind of like bone on bone.
Oof.
And it was fucked. So they had to put in a new disc. So that brings your neck back to kind of a normal size. But then the problem is that's one disc, and the discs above and below start getting fucked.
Oh,
and
my
then
God.
so he's about to get 2 new discs above and below that one.
Jeez, so then you're chasing it.
Yeah, my friend Eddie, Eddie Bravo, he got one in his lower back,
Right?
and he gained an inch in height from it.
Yeah, a
Because
friend of mine.
they have to separate your discs, and they shoved it because he was basically bone on bone.
So
in
he
his
was in
lower
pain.
back. In pain all the time.
Yeah.
Constant agony. But the thing is, like that thing sometimes, even though they do that and it's better,
Yeah.
sometimes you still have pain.
Yeah. My buddy just had it done, and he's very active. And I don't know if they fused it or they put one in, like you're saying, but he couldn't believe that he had been living with pain for as long as he was. Like the difference was so great.
Oh, that's awesome.
That,
That's a
it's
great
like-
story.
Yeah.
When
great
that happens,
story.
that's awesome. But
Yeah.
it doesn't always happen.
Even his daughter was like, "You're less cranky." Like he was just dealing with it.
Is he athletic?
Yeah, he is. He's very
And he can
active,
do-
and
they have like these titanium discs that are articulating. Michael Bisping, by the way, also has 2 artificial knees,
whoa.
and he's in his 40s.
All bionic.
And he looks very fit. If you looked at him, you would never think there's anything wrong with him. But his neck is in constant pain. His knees are like they take the top of your femur and the top of your tibia, your shin bone. They saw it off and screw this cap in place and
Amazing.
And he was tapping it on the microphone. You
Yeah.
could hear it go click 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 click.
It's amazing. I mean, we know so many people who've like gotten new hips, and I said to
yeah.
my wife, like, how amazing a world where you can do that. Like, everyone, all these people walking around with new hips and able to like live their lives.
Not just live their lives. My friend John Wayne Parr, he's a multiple-time world Muay Thai champion. He got a fake hip, and now he's fighting again.
Wow.
Like he got it fixed.
Yeah.
And now he went back. Look, pull up John Wayne Parr on Instagram. There's videos of him kicking the pads. And by the way, he's kicking with his left leg. His left leg is the one that's fucked. And so the guy's holding the pads, and he's like, ah, bang, ah, bang. He's kicking with, like, they saw your fucking leg and they put a screw that goes down into the bone, and then you have a new, like, ball and socket
You're a
type
robot.
deal.
Right.
It's crazy because when he told me he was going to get it done, I was like, oh, I felt so bad because here's a guy that's this warrior that's like world renowned. Like when I met him, it was like I was so thrilled to meet him. Like
Yeah.
this is John Wayne Parr. I've
Right,
seen him
right.
fight so many times. Now, this is him. He's kicking the bag. So I think he's going to kick this
Jeez.
bag. I'm going to see if he kicks it with
How
his
old
left
is he
leg.
there, Joe?
He's in his 40s. So this is he's kicking with his opposite leg. That's his right leg. But there's videos of him kicking with the left leg. See, the left leg is the one that he had operated on. That's him there kicking with the left leg. Bam.
Oof.
So that leg that he's kicking with, he's demonstrating some techniques.
Wow.
And that left leg, he has an artificial hip, man. And look
my
how fucking
God.
hard he's kicking.
Yeah.
Give me some volume so you can hear
It's
this.
like he's 18.
Listen to this. Listen to this.
What's that sound?
I mean, that motherfucker, you don't want to catch that on the chops.
No, that'll
And
take out your ribs.
He's doing this with a fucking fake hip. It's amazing.
Good
Isn't that
Lord.
amazing?
That is amazing. At that
Fucking
age,
incredible.
come on.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I have friends at that age that do not.
Bro, he's 10
could not
years younger
move.
than me.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's what's fucked. He's 10 years younger than me.
God.
And I don't have those problems yet. But
Is there a main supplement that you would take as a anti-aging thing?
yeah, well, there's no main. There's many things you should take
Right.
when you get older. Like hormones are a big one. Hormone replacement's a big one, like replacing your testosterone. I had a lot of friends that used to make fun of me for taking testosterone back in the day, and they're usually younger than me. And I'm like, now they're thinking about it. I'm like, ha ha, told you, bitch. I'm like, what do you want to do? Do you want to live your life where you don't have energy? Or like, I had a conversation about it with a friend of mine, and he was like, well, why do you take it? I go, because I want my body to work better. Like when you're younger and you have hormones, your body
Yeah.
heals better and it works better. It's really that simple.
Right.
It's really that simple. Like you can say, is vanity involved? Of course. I like looking good.
Right.
Yes. Who likes looking like shit?
Yeah.
You can pretend you like it, but it's probably because you're trying to make an excuse for why you don't put in the effort to look good. But at the end of the day, your body doesn't perform as well without the proper hormones.
Right.
And you get to a certain point in your life as you get older and older and older, like
Yeah.
where your body. So my thought was like, nip that shit in the bud early.
Mm-hmm.
Where I'm on the decline, and my doctor was like, "This is what you do. You just take a little bit, a tiny amount, like every 3 days.
Uh-huh.
I take a tiny amount, and it just raises you back up, and it raises you up to a healthy level. You don't want
Right.
to have a lot where you get too much, where
Yeah.
your body doesn't work properly, but." Now it's mainstream. It's normal. So
Right.
many men that I know that you would never guess are supplementing their testosterone.
Yeah. And it's just to feel better.
It's
just
to feel better. It wards off injury. It wards off sickness. It makes your
Right.
immune system function better.
What is the thing, like if you had something in you, like a precancerous something or other,
That's growth hormone.
that's growth hormone, that it accelerates the bad stuff as
Yes.
as
And
much as the good.
I take peptides for growth. What peptides do is it makes your body produce growth hormone.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it produce it at a higher level, which facilitates healing and recovery better. But that's another thing. Oh, you got to make sure you don't take too much. You gotta,
Right.
It's a balancing. Like bodybuilders take crazy amounts.
Right.
You know, and that's not safe. Like, at
No.
a certain point in time, you're running the risk of something growing inside you.
Right.
But it's also manipulating your diet, making sure that you don't take in foods that are inflammatory. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that when I switched over to this diet where I basically eat just meat and fruit, I lost weight, I felt slimmer, and I stopped having joint pain, which was kind of crazy.
You know what's weird? After I fell on the ice, which sounds so old to begin with, but I slipped on the ice, and you know it's been messed up. I felt whatever. I had pizza. We had pizza. I
And
ate
it
like a bunch.
inflamed it.
I was in so much pain after eating pizza.
Yeah, it's in flames.
Right.
In flames. It's Those foods are delicious.
But
First of all,
yeah.
I fucking love pizza.
Yeah, of course. But you felt the impact of it.
Yeah, but when
in
I
an
was
injury.
young, When I was young, I used to love coming home from jiu-jitsu and eating a whole pizza.
Yeah.
I'll get a giant pizza, pepperoni, and mushrooms. And I would crush an entire pizza while I was watching TV. I was like, fuck it, I just did an hour and a half of jiu-jitsu.
Right.
I could eat this pizza.
I could eat this damn pizza.
You know?
So hormone. Yeah, because I went for a physical, and I hope this isn't too boring, but I went for a physical, and he was like, your testosterone levels are fine. And I was like, I bet he's saying that
It's like when your wife
for my
says, "You look
age.
good."
Right. For your age, for someone who's dying, that's a pretty good, but it's not the level
It's not
you want.
optimum.
Right.
If you changed it, if you started adding to your testosterone, you'd feel a lot better. It's everyone that I know that does it. They all
Right.
call me up and go, "Oh my God, I feel so much better."
Can I get it on Amazon?
No. You can get some stuff on Amazon that supposedly stimulates your body's production of testosterone. One thing that does work, there's a thing that's a plant-based compound called turkesterone. And this is, I found out from the same guy, Derek, from More Plates, More Dates. Oh, you didn't pull up that video of that guy that died from overworking out.
Oh God, yeah.
This is we're talking about people that have sicknesses.
Yeah.
Like any kind of like mental sickness.
Yeah.
Whether it's
Right.
gambling or
Alcohol,
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of it is the same thing. It's like people fixate on a thing.
Yeah.
And so this is the guy. This is how his name was Scott Murray.
That kid?
And so he was. They said he had mental health issues already.
Yeah.
And then
He looks
see if you can
troubled.
find what he looked like. But he did not eat much. He tried to keep his body mass very, very lean, and he worked out so hard that he literally wound up dying.
Oh, he was sick.
See if they have any images
terrible.
of what he looked like when he was in like full.
That's why I didn't pull it up earlier. 'Cause I
Oh,
didn't
they
see it.
didn't have any images of it.
Right.
See, like Scott Murray. Pull up Scott Murray
That's sad.
physique. Pull up Scott Murray physique because he was fucking shredded. This guy was carrying around a very low percentage of body fat all year long, and it's just there's an image of him there. Fitness trainer and YouTube. Go back so I can read that. Fitness trainer and YouTube diet planner Scott Murray passed away. So this is what he started at, and that's what he became while he was on YouTube. So look at the difference in the
Wow.
two images.
Jeez.
It says his death was brought on by an eating disorder and excessive exercise.
Jeez. That's
Yeah,
sad.
so you can literally work yourself to death.
Yeah, of
you know?
course. of
We always hear
course.
that about people that like they work 16 hours a day, they're constantly stressed out, and they have a heart attack and die. That's kind
That's
of
common. Yeah.
It's kind of the same
Yeah.
vein of things.
Yeah, your brain just starts going off in a weird direction.
It's hard to it's hard to know when to chill.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
when you're a person that's like obsessive and you're trying to accomplish something, and if you're in a competitive business and you're in that, and you're putting in all the hours in the office or
Yeah.
bodybuilding or whatever the fuck it is, like
Yeah.
people get crazy. Look at the difference there. See, he maintained around 5% body fat year round. Natural, and was burning roughly 5,500 calories per day. His
God.
workouts would typically burn around 1,400 calories.
Oh my God.
That is incredible.
That's a lot.
That's so much.
Yeah.
He just got obsessed with getting jacked.
Did you see that doc of the Mr. Olympia? The guy who had the most Mr. Olympias,
Ronnie Coleman?
Ronnie Coleman?
Was it Ronnie Coleman?
Yeah.
Ronnie's been on the podcast.
Yeah.
He's fucked. His unfortunately,
Can't-
his body is.
Yeah.
When he was on the podcast, he came in a wheelchair.
Right. Yeah, that's what
And
they were showing. And he was
he's-
such a sweet,
He's
beautiful
the nicest guy
person.
ever.
Yeah.
that's what he still looks good. I mean, he's still like fucking strong as shit. But
God.
and by the way, back surgeries.
right.
His whole back is fused.
Oh,
He's had I think he's had 9 discs fused.
It
But
was-
look at what he looked like when he was in his prime.
God.
My God. Ronnie Coleman's a legend and nicest guy you ever could meet.
That's what it came through in the doc. He was just like,
Look at that
everybody
fucking
loved
size of him. Look at that picture.
Oh my God. Look at that
God.
bicep.
Bro, he was unstoppable.
shoulders.
When he was on top, he was unstoppable. Unstoppable.
God.
But he's so dedicated that he kind of destroyed his body.
Right.
Because Ronnie, unlike a lot of these Mr. Olympias,
Yeah.
he used to lift heavy weights.
Right.
And that's what hurt him. And by the way, he said on the podcast when he blew his back out, he finished the set. Like
Really?
he was in agony, but he was so tough. He's like, "Fuck that! I'm gonna keep going." Like,
Look at the weight
amount of
on that. Look at the weight.
Yeah, that's Ronnie Coleman, man. He was. I mean, listen, you only get to be a legend in that sport, like to be that big, by being a fucking fanatic.
So how did Arnold balance it? Because Arnold looks like he's doing great.
He's doing fairly well comparatively. He can walk around and do stuff, unlike Lee. But I mean, but Ronnie rather. I don't think Lee Haney's in problem. But Lee Haney was another guy that was built like that too. But Dorian Yates is a great example. He's a guy that was on this podcast, and he has quite a few injuries. Like his shoulders are kind of fucked up and everything like that. But he concentrates on cardiovascular fitness now. He smokes a lot of weed.
Right.
He was very chill.
Yeah.
And Dorian, like that's what he looks like now. So he
Oh,
looks
yeah, I
good.
remember him.
He looks good.
Yeah.
But he has like he can move around good. That was how big he was back then. That's
Right.
him next to Ronnie Coleman.
God.
They're both
Look at those. Look at those.
It's preposterous.
It looks like those turkeys when they when they get too big on the breasts when they try and get the breasts going.
Or those cows when they take the
Yeah.
myostatin inhibitors.
Oh my God.
Look at that back.
Man,
Insane.
oh man.
But Dorian is very healthy now. He's got a
He
great
is.
attitude about it.
That's good.
He doesn't like.
Was
there
Dorian I'm sorry, was Dorian the one who couldn't beat Coleman all those years?
No, he was a multiple champion. I don't know what. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah.
What happened when did they compete against each other?
There was one guy who was like Coleman just kept edging him out in the dock.
Well, I'm sure there's probably quite a few.
Yeah.
Cohen was the fucking man.
Yeah.
But Dorian was a multiple-time champion.
Yeah.
I think there was a different era. I think
The Shadow versus the King, 93, 99. Oh yeah, he was before.
there it is.
Jeez Louise.
I don't know. I would have to go into the history of
Yeah,
it, but
yeah.
they're both former Mr. Olympias and they're both legends. And
Legends.
Dorian was known as being like one of the most for his time, one of the most massive guys anybody had ever seen.
Look at those thighs.
Yeah,
God.
crazy. How big.
Amazing.
1997. Ronnie was in 2005. So Ronnie came afterwards. Look at the size of Ronnie. Look at the size of him.
All right, I'm gonna get some testosterone.
You're gonna need a lot more than that, bro. this is the only way you get that big is incredible amounts of work and incredible amounts of steroids.
Yeah.
You don't like that's a
That's
sport.
all steroids,
That's
yeah.
a sport where there are natural bodybuilders and they look really good.
Right.
There's natural bodybuilders.
Right.
They really do exist, and they look great.
Right.
They look a lot better than me, and they don't do anything. They just eat well and work out.
All
but
natural.
They never look like Ronnie Coleman.
No.
No. And Ronnie was like a genetically gifted guy who openly admitted, he said he couldn't compete with the guys who did steroids. So he didn't do steroids, I think he said, until he was 30.
Right.
And then when he was 30, or I forget what age it was,
Yeah.
but then when he started doing steroids, then he hit his
Right.
legendary form.
Right.
These are all natural.
Oh, those are natural guys? Jeez.
I mean, I don't know if they all are, but I typed it in.
That's
Yeah,
it's
but-
possible to like that guy with the board shorts right there, the colorful board shorts.
Yeah.
Click on that one, Jamie. That is possible to achieve.
Right.
That's possible to achieve naturally. I mean, that guy must work out incredibly hard, diets well. That's natural.
Oh, God.
That's like that guy probably is fanatical in his fitness,
Fanatical.
and his diet. But the difference between him and a guy like Dorian Yates is
Yeah.
pretty significant.
Yeah.
Like look at now go to Dorian Yates. Like look at this difference. The difference. Look at that black and white picture of Dorian down there below, on the far right, Jamie. Where are my fingers? Yeah, next to that. Look at that.
Oh, God.
What the fuck, dude?
But are they funny?
He's actually funny. Dorian's a fun guy.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed having him on the podcast.
I would imagine.
Whenever I enjoy talking to someone that is just achieved insane levels of accomplishment in anything.
Oh, my God,
Whether
yeah.
it's software design or fucking
They're so impressive.
people who can
They're
do
inspirational.
but you gotta like what is there a time where you can't do that anymore? Is there a like how long can you compete at a certain like level of RPMs before your brain or your body just goes bang?
There's a limit.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So like I said, 25 push-ups, at a pop.
25's good.
It's good.
That's good.
Well, you know why?
How many
Because
often do you do it?
Because you look at every day.
You do 100 push-ups a day?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Really? That's very good, dude.
Thanks, man.
That's very good.
But it's like the least you could do.
That's not the least you could do. You do one.
It's pretty much the least you could do.
One is the least you could do.
Yeah, but you're flailing those kettlebells, and it's like you just feel it. You just feeling like I was at the. I've said this before, but you're at the pool and you see these guys walk around, the dad bod guys. They got nothing left. It's just like, over their shoulders.
When I see guys' shoulders and it's just kind of like bone.
Yes.
And
skin.
Arm, and I always think, oh my God, you're going to get hurt.
Right.
Like that guy's going to open up a mayonnaise jar and
know.
blow out his rotator cuff.
I know. I just don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that.
Have you ever thought
thing.
about hiring a trainer?
No.
I can get you one if you want one.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, I know
Do I have
a
to
lot
go
of guys.
somewhere? Let me get the hormones so I'm motivated enough to go.
Do you have weights at your house?
I do. I have
anything?
dumbbells. I have dumbbells and the bike.
Someone could come to your house and just with dumbbells give you a phenomenal workout. Just body weight and dumbbells.
Really?
Yeah, just commit to doing it 2 times a week.
Yeah?
Yeah, and then, ramp it up. Ramp
Right.
it up to 3 times a week.
Right,
and then,
right.
You make sure you have recovery time. You do Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Right.
And then you'll see improvements for sure.
You know what's hard is the road. When you're on the road, it's so hard. I am always like, no, this week I'm going to do it. And you're on the road, and it's like my go-to is yoga when I'm on the road. I'll do yoga in the room. It's hard.
Yoga in the room's good. If you go to a class, it's better.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, if you can force yourself to go
Those
to a class.
little adjustments that they just come over to you, it makes all the difference.
Yeah, and it's also like you have to keep up with the pace of the class.
Yeah.
You can't just fuck off and
Right.
take a shit. And you're in that class, man. You're locked in for 90 minutes with your little bottle of water, and you got to make that water last.
I know.
Yeah.
No, it's a big difference. Well, now that we're coming out of the pandemic, you go to classes again.
I can't believe you never caught COVID. That's amazing.
Never caught it.
That's incredible. And especially with this Omicron.
I know.
Everybody caught that.
And I was touring heavy. I've been out.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, I was like, I'm just going to sign books. Like, depending on where I would go, if the audience didn't have to wear a mask, if that city and that theater was saying, and I was like, I'm just going to go. I'm just going to do
Good
it.
for you.
And
Good for you.
I never caught it.
Well, you know what? If you have the right protocol in place into how to take care of yourself if you did get sick, if you were ready for it, you could be okay. It's just, you're a relatively young, healthy guy, and you're vaccinated, and
Right.
You're out there.
I was vaxxed and boosted, and I have my little baggies in my backpack.
Vitamins.
Yeah, with all the zinc and the stuff. And
That made a big difference, I'm sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that they said about vitamin D in particular.
Yeah.
Was that some ungodly number at one point in time? I think it was like in the high 70s. I think it was like 78% of the people that were in the ICU with COVID had insufficient levels of vitamin D.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a big factor with your immune system, vitamin D, because it's not they call it a vitamin, but it's really a hormone.
Oh.
Yeah, that's Dr. Rhonda Patrick was explaining it to me. She's like, they shouldn't even call it a vitamin because it's really like a hormone that you get from the sun.
Right. My friend Kira Sultanovich, Kira, she was saying you got to take it with K2.
Yeah, it helps absorption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was like, don't just take it on its own. So then I changed it to that. Yeah,
It's like if you
great.
take zinc, you're supposed to take zinc with quercetin or curcumin or some kind of an ionophore.
Right.
But to have someone who can like go over your blood work and look at your nutrient levels and make sure you're taking the right stuff, it's so beneficial because you think about like your expertise in comedy. Now, if you had someone who was just starting out and they were doing everything all wrong, you'd be like, don't headline right away.
Right. Don't do that joke.
Yeah, exactly. You would be able to talk to them and tell them like how to do comedy.
Yeah.
They can do that with how to eat. And
Right.
They can do that with how to exercise.
Right.
It's always worth like bringing in an expert. A real
for sure.
expert.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Because I've had a bunch of workouts with like real high-level fitness trainers, and I work out here in town with my friend John Wolf, who's the head trainer at the On It Gym. I work out with him all the time.
Yeah.
It helps a lot.
It does help. Yeah.
Helps so much, man. Because he'll make me do like mobility exercises and shit
Right.
that I don't really want to do.
Right. Yeah, you get into your own pattern. You're doing something that's better than not doing anything.
Yeah.
But having someone else just be like, change this. You're like, oh, right, I feel this now.
Also, to make someone who does things on their time. Like you want a certain amount of rest in between it. They only give you the rest they think you need.
Right.
And then get back at it.
Right.
And they're
Right.
trying to build you up, whereas you're just trying to like maintain a comfort level while you're at the gym.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
You know, people
Yeah.
see people fucking around with their phone.
Yeah.
And talking
Reading the
to their
paper on the
friends.
treadmill.
Yeah, and
know.
having some reason to fuck off with a buddy. You know,
Yeah.
laugh and joke
Right,
around.
right.
But you really should be doing another set.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's good.
It's also the thing about going to a gym that's great is the culture of the people there, like especially on at gym is great because everyone there is trying to better themselves. So when you're there
Right.
and you see all these like super fit people that are working out hard and trying to better themselves, like,
Yeah.
you get into this mindset and then the momentum of that kind of carries on in your life. It's
Yeah.
nice.
That is a good thing.
Oh my God. it's
I'm
so
on the
nice.
bike. I just have Frank the pug walking by. Like,
That's okay too, though. Listen, that's fucking way better than not doing it.
yeah, for sure. For
It's,
sure.
it's all about, just like how much time do you have for that? How much energy do you have for that? You don't want to overdo it where it takes away from other things that you do.
No, of course.
Like
but
that fucking guy that died.
no,
I mean,
yeah.
He obviously went too far. He was going crazy. You don't want to go crazy.
It actually, in the right dose, staves off the crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, during the pandemic, it was like if I didn't work out, it was like you're a different guy
Oh,
after
my
2
God.
days.
It's so good for anxiety.
Oh my God, it feels so much better.
Yeah. My friends who have anxiety who don't exercise, I'm like, man, it's like you're not taking your medicine.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
It's just, you can help yourself.
You'd be
You
in
really
the
can.
shittiest, worst
my
mood,
God.
and then you do it, and you're like, what was I complaining about?
Exactly.
what didn't I like?
And like you have a lot more empathy for people after you do that too, which is interesting.
Patience for people.
Yeah.
Empathy. Yeah, you're right.
You know what?
Why is that? Why?
I think a lot of our reactions to other people are based on how we feel internally, like physically how you feel. Like I think we carry around a lot of stress whether we realize it or not.
Yeah.
I feel way better when I stretch. Like even if I'm not going to work out, just a long stretching session, I feel better.
Totally.
'Cause you're carrying around less tension.
Right.
You're alleviating tension in your body that alleviates it in your mind.
Yeah.
And you just feel better.
That's the yoga key, right? You
Oh,
come out of
yeah.
there, you're like blissed out.
Oh my God, you're so much more compassionate towards people when
Yeah.
you do yoga.
Yeah. So good.
It's great.
So Duncan's coming back to LA.
Is he?
Yeah.
100%?
Yeah.
I wouldn't bet on that.
He said he was.
When did you talk to him?
We started doing this podcast together
When did you just start doing this?
like a couple months ago.
Yeah?
We haven't released it yet. We're just like, we just love each other. Like never really hung out.
He's
and we're
the
just,
best.
I just love talking to him so much. So we just been talking. He said, we're like, should we do this? Like, because we have so much fun. We're like, you want to do something together like this? And he's like, I'm moving back, man. I'm coming.
He was coming here too, so I wouldn't count on it.
Yeah.
I'm coming to Austin, man.
Man, I miss it.
Last time we did a podcast together, I was sitting in that seat. He sat in this seat, and he wore a ghillie suit, and I wore a wig. No. We both wore wigs, right? What did we burned candles? We had candles all over the table.
He's so crazy.
I don't know. Did we
He's
take
great.
mushrooms? Did we take mushrooms? I
Really?
don't think we took mushrooms.
Oh, yeah.
But we were baked out of our fucking minds. He's one of my favorite people to hang out with because he's so uniquely Duncan.
So much so.
Yeah.
And it just feels like, just talking to him is just great.
Oh, he's the best. He's such a sweet person too. Like genuinely nice.
You're going to see Joe. Give that werewolf a kiss for me. Give that werewolf a kiss.
We have a new version of the werewolf.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, we got a new one. Patrick McGee, who's the guy who made the first werewolf.
Is that still in L.A.?
Yeah, but we're going back to get that too soon too. But he sent me. I'm gonna send you these, Jamie, because they're fucking sweet. But he changed this new one where he does it. The old one had some of it was yak hair,
Oh,
and
man.
some of it was like this artificial hair, and then the new one he's using all yak hair. And because I had Rick Baker on the podcast, where Rick Baker's the guy who did all the special effects for the American Werewolf in London, and he created the first werewolf.
Right.
He criticized my werewolf. Said it's too large.
Oh, really?
Yes, he said in the film it was smaller than that because it was more like the size of a person. Like if a person became a wolf, which made sense.
Right.
So
He wouldn't.
This is our new one.
Oh, wow.
Come on, bro.
Oh, that is fierce.
Look at the claws.
That is fierce. Look at his fangs.
Yeah, he fine-tuned it. So Pat
my
McGee,
God.
Patrick McGee does like
Jeez.
high-level special effects for films.
That is insane.
Yeah, the old one was awesome, but this one is awesomer. Like, look at the difference in like the muscles.
Yeah.
Like, look at the muscles in this thing and the hair. So it's all yak hair now. So he's not using the synthetic hair anymore.
Wow.
He did the whole thing in animal hair.
It looks twice as scary.
Yeah, and he brought it down to the size, so it's like, like
Yeah.
a little bigger than me probably, and it's
Yeah, you could see that it was human,
yeah,
right? Like
that's
his
the
back.
idea.
Like his back.
Yeah, fucking awesome.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
What an artist.
Oh, he's so good, man. He does a lot of stuff for films. He does a lot of stuff for monster movies, and he's one of those guys.
Wow.
Yeah, this is McGee's special effects page. Look at his stuff, man.
Jeez.
He's incredible.
Look at those eyes.
I mean, that's Patrick right there. And he's a big giant dude too. When I met him, I was like, holy shit, he's like
Oh, yeah?
6'6". He's huge.
Wow.
He's like he was a basketball player and he decided to get into special effects. Like, look at that.
Really?
Yeah. Look at that fucking thing.
Oh, it's scary.
Because you expect that someone who did this would be like sort of a nerdy introvert. You know, he's
Yeah.
like a big athlete. Like, look at his work.
It's amazing.
Wild stuff, right?
Holy cow.
Isn't that wild?
Amazing.
Yeah. And what is it? McGee FX on
Wow.
Instagram. You can check out all
Frightening.
this stuff out.
Yeah, I got to look him up.
But he's one of those guys, like, look at that. That's his Bigfoot.
Oof.
Fucking, isn't that dope?
Yeah. He's a real artist. Jeez.
See, there's two schools of thoughts when it comes to special effects for films.
Uh-huh.
And one of them is they do CGI, so computer-generated
Sure.
images. And then the other one is guys who want to use makeup and prosthetics and because they think it moves real and it seems like a real object.
I believe that.
It does, because
Yeah.
sometimes you see things in a movie and it looks cool, but it looks fake.
It takes you out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas like in American Werewolf in London, which is one of the great horror movies of all time,
Yeah.
you didn't see the werewolf that much. See if you can get some footage of the werewolf in American Werewolf in London. You saw it briefly in these scenes, and that's one of the things that made it so scary.
Right.
Is that like you weren't like staring at it, trying to find holes in it.
Right. Analyzing it.
Right. You saw it briefly.
Yeah.
And it was fucking terrifying.
Wasn't Jack Nicholson a werewolf?
It was a terrible werewolf.
He was.
It was terrible. Him and Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oh, right.
They were both, "Rah." They were like
That's
this.
right.
"Rah." It was so corny. It was like, that's a wolf, man. Like, get out of here, bitch.
Grr.
It was, they were trying to do. See, well, there's a whole series of things we could say here, but pull up the one from American Werewolf in London, and then we'll do Jack Nicholson, and then we'll do Benicio del Toro, because Benicio del Toro did a new version of the old Wolfman. So yeah, so this is when
right, I remember
this
that
is when he's turning.
Yeah, this was
This
great.
is like, you got to realize, like, I think this was the 80s, right?
Yeah, yeah, it was. I remember I was in high school.
So, what year was this? 81.
81.
My God. So I was in high school too. So like this was so radical for the time, this transformation scene where his hands are growing and he's screaming. And it was also funny because like he was... His friend, I'm sorry I called you a meatloaf, because his dead friend was telling him to kill himself. His friend came back from the dead, told him to kill himself because you're going to turn into a werewolf.
Right.
And he was warning him. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And so this is the first time he changes.
Good
So
actor, too.
Oh my God, he was amazing. And this scene was fucking incredible, man. Because no one had ever seen anything like this before in a film.
Yeah,
Like
I remember.
The Wolfman stuff before that was like kind of corny.
Yeah, in Shadows.
Yeah. It just didn't seem like it was really happening.
Good actor, too.
Yeah. Oh my God. This fucking movie is one of my all-time favorites.
And then you had a little Warren Zevon in there.
Yeah, man. God damn, it was good.
It was
and
great.
funny, like Jack, like the face.
Look at that.
Look at this fucking thing. God damn, what a movie this was.
Oh, God. It's really great.
In 1981, man. And the music. Look at the fucking body on that thing.
Oh.
Just wild. And it was also the first time I'd ever seen a werewolf where it was on all fours.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't.
Yeah, he wasn't walking around in a suit.
Okay. Now see if they show the werewolf in any other scenes, because there's a scene where it's running through Piccadilly Circus.
Don't have the full movie up. I just had that scene.
Did they have
Right.
Piccadilly Circus? Piccadilly Square.
What's Piccadilly?
Piccadilly Square was the area where it was running through the street, was just killing people.
Uh-huh.
It was in a nudie theater.
Oh,
and he was in a movie theater watching porno with this guy, because that's where the guy told him to meet him there.
Oh, yeah.
And he's telling him, like, you're gonna turn to the werewolf, you're gonna kill everybody. And so he's in this theater, and there's other people in the theater that are like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? And then he turns into the werewolf, and see this this cop comes in because he hears there's a disturbance. I think he'd already killed a guy in there. So some people are in there having sex.
And the cops walking through.
The movies.
He just ate someone.
For Christ's sake, somebody come on straight here! Cobra Station! Send the big rifles!
No guns in London.
So the guy's trying to get people. I know, they have sticks. Imagine these poor bastards. So this thing is in the middle of this porno theater. All these cops are trying to hold it back, and these people are like, what's going on over there? What's happening? And then eventually the werewolf breaks through that boundary and comes
my
out and just
God.
starts slaughtering people.
Oh.
Go a little before you see it come out. What the hell is going on here? Open that door.
Here he comes. Oh, and he eats the main guy. Oh, there goes his head. Now you get it, people. Get out of there.
What a fucking scene, man.
That's when movies were movies.
Fuck yeah, man. Look at that thing.
And it's true. Like, if that was animated, you'd be like, yeah. Okay.
Right, you're seeing whatever that thing is. It looks
Yeah.
like a real thing is happening there.
Yeah.
And it's snapping at people while it's running around. Now, go to Jack Nicholson and the Wolf.
Oh, no.
I think they called it Wolf. I think it was called Wolf. It was him and Michelle Pfeiffer.
Right. Wolf.
It was corny.
Wolfman.
No, that's Wolfman. That's Benicio del Toro. That's the next one I'm going to show you.
Right.
But the Jack Nicholson.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Yeah, Wolf, Jack
Versus
Nicholson.
James Spader, that's right.
Yeah, they had a super fight. Him and that guy from that fucking cop show.
Yeah.
Right, they both became wolves. So Michelle Pfeiffer hits him in the head with a fire extinguisher, and she's running away. And then look how he runs. Look how he runs and tackles her. He's in
a sweatshirt.
It's like it's so fake looking. Look. And Jack Nicholson becomes a wolf. He throws the keys away. I'm gonna kill her. I'm gonna kill her.
I mean,
Jack
come on.
Nicholson is
Who's
like,
more badass than Jack? You make a leap like this, you're like, I think it'll work.
Look, she gets away so easy. He has to leap through the air to stop her from getting away. Like, it looks so corny. I don't know how they sold off on this.
Well, you're at the mercy. You're thinking, no, there's good people.
So, if he takes that thing off, is that what turns him into the Wolfman again?
Yeah.
Is that what's supposed to be happening?
Yeah, he
here?
locked himself in a cage and wore that thing so he wouldn't hurt people. But now he's got to save her.
It's so
So he
corny.
takes the amulet off.
Look how corny that is.
Now he's going full wolf.
I can't believe Jack Nicholson signed off on this. I mean, Jack Nicholson has done so many amazing movies. Like, look.
Yeah, but it's too late. By the time you're at that point. Oof. Ooh, the horse is involved.
Oh,
no.
What's he trying to do? This is
trying to
very
rape her.
rapey.
That's rapey. Oh,
Oh,
no.
this is terrible.
Oh, my God. Come on, Jack. Save her.
This is taking a long-ass time,
Save
Jack.
her, Jack.
Oh, he jumps over the top. Oh, there's no roof. Oh, now he's going to land on him.
So the only thing that changes on these werewolves is their face.
Yeah, their teeth gets a little nasty. But it's nothing, like, significant.
No.
Like, look at that. Ah, and then watch Jack Nicholson. Ah.
Yeah. This is like people that come to your Halloween party.
Yeah, and you're like, come on, bro, that's all you did?
Yeah. Right. A little effort. Come on.
Werewolf. Rawr. Okay, now. All right, that's whack.
Funny.
Now, Wolfman, Benicio del Toro, the scene where he transforms in a hospital. So this is one where they had decided that Benicio del Toro was like a madman. Give me some volume.
He's so good, too.
It seems very real.
So they were thinking that this guy was delusional. There was something
Right.
wrong with him. So this doctor,
He's all
is-
strapped to a chair.
yeah, so they're observing this in this like medical theater because they used to have like medical
Right.
theaters back then. So this is also Rick Baker. So Rick Baker decided to do like an old school werewolf thing,
Oh.
but to do it right. And to do it not CGI all the way, but some CGI. Some CGI and some, like that CGI clearly. But some of it is,
That's great.
yeah, see, like some of it's CGI, but some of it is like physical stuff.
It's always so creepy when their bones stretch.
Yeah. Well, this was the most creepy. It was really good. Like the movie is pretty good,
Yeah.
but it was close. See, like when this all takes place, like these people are freaking out and they try to get away, and then it eventually becomes like this version of like, it's not quite like the American Werewolf in London, but it's not corny like Jack Nicholson.
Right.
It's like in the middle. Look
Yeah.
at this guy. Thinks he's gonna like trank him. He shoots him up with a thing.
Yeah. He's got a little bit more of a human.
Yeah, you buy into it more. Hello. Open the door, you fuck.
Seems to be locked, sir.
Like he pulls out his heart.
Oh. He's just eating people.
It's close enough.
Yeah.
Where I think, okay, at least it's not just a dude.
Yeah.
With like some teeth. Like that looks like a monster.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It was good.
Yeah, it was good.
But this was like a lot of CGI stuff too, like the werewolf like jumps off the buildings and stuff, and it looks corny.
Right.
Like you see it running through the city. Like watch this. When you see it like run over the buildings, it looks kind of corny.
Right.
It's like they did a hybrid type movie. Like a lot of it was like this here, like "Rawr, I'm hopping from building to building. Ow." Like, look at. But then here it's like a real guy running.
Yeah.
But then once he gets hopping, it gets kind of corny.
Yeah, that all of a sudden is not real.
And he runs on all fours sometimes. It's
He
like
looks good.
that.
Yeah.
That they tried.
Yeah.
JB's laughing.
Yeah, they had to add that, but also
Yeah, of
you
course.
don't have to. I guess.
But
Did you have
that sound cannot fuck with the sound that the American Werewolf in London made.
Yeah.
The American Werewolf in London sound was so much more ferocious. That was a better sound.
Yeah.
But that was one of those movies where they tried. There was an old school. Was it Lon Chaney Jr. that played the werewolf?
Lon Chaney.
And the Wolfman. Who was
Yeah.
the original Wolfman?
OG,
Yeah, the OG Wolfman.
Yeah.
From like the 1950s.
And those movies were good because there was suspense. Like you
Yeah.
didn't see a lot. It wasn't. You didn't
Yes.
have. So you had to build it up with not seeing it. And
Well, that's what he looked like. Yeah, Lon
Right.
Chaney Jr., the Wolfman. So,
Yeah.
so what this Wolfman with Benicio del Toro was supposed to be was like this thing, but better.
right.
And they achieved it, but the reality is it's not quite scary enough.
No, it wasn't about the effects as much as it was the acting back then.
But it's like that movie, the Wolfman with Benicio del Toro, was ultimately kind of a failure.
Right.
It really didn't.
Didn't catch.
Nah, people were like, "Come on, man."
Right.
You
What are
know,
you
it's
doing?
like, I see what they were trying to do, but
Yeah.
we want a real monster.
Yeah.
We want a real monster.
And then Abbott and Costello go against the Wolfman. at
Oh, they
one point.
did.
Yeah.
That's right. There's no like comedy teams like that anymore.
No.
James Franco and Seth Rogen were like the last comedy team. They were in a bunch of films together.
Right. Right.
Oh, look at that.
There you go.
Abbott and Costello and the Wolfman. That's hilarious. Oh, but also, who else was what the fuck's his name? From Step Brothers.
Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly.
That's right. Those two guys have been in a bunch of movies.
Yeah.
That's probably the best comedy team.
They were,
Step Brothers, Talladega Nights.
Yeah,
That's right. They're
so good.
our modern
yeah.
team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then there's
Talladega Nights is amazing.
so funny.
God
Step
damn.
Brothers so damn funny.
Fuck yeah, so funny.
Oh
You couldn't do that movie today, man. I watched it with my family during the pandemic, and I was like, whoa, there's a lot of racy humor in this. that
Well,
you-
it starts off. I just showed it to my daughters too. The first real gag is putting the testicles on the on the symbols. My daughter's like, "What are you showing us?"
But it's a lot of it. It's like homophobia jokes.
Yeah.
and there's like a lot of jokes. You just can't. It's weird today. Like you can't just joke around about certain things now because of
Yeah.
social media and the outrage, recreational outrage that's sort of blossomed from it.
Yeah, there was a lot of bad taste back then, but at least there was the freedom to make stuff. There was like bad comedies every year. There'd be a boatload of bad comedies.
Yeah.
Just swinging for the fences, and then every once in a while, one of them would hit.
But with the ones that hit today, when you go back and watch them, like, you know, if comics are getting canceled for old jokes,
Yeah.
like, geez Louise, go back and watch some of those films.
Revenge of the Nerds.
Oh, yeah.
Revenge of the Nerds. Those guys were creeps. The nerds were creeps. They were so rapey.
They put spy gear all over the sorority house.
Yeah, they're doing
Watching them all night.
Yeah, they're perving out on all the girls, and then they switch his costumes, and he goes and has sex with the girl, and she doesn't. She thinks it's with the other guy. It's essentially raping her.
You remember Superbad? Dude, that movie. You remember Superbad?
Sure. What about
That movie is filled with crazy humor. Like I tried watching that movie. That was the one when they started out the movie like he was drawing all those dicks.
It didn't start up.
Wasn't
Yeah,
that,
that's in
that
there.
was in the movie, right?
Yep.
That's a fucking hilarious movie, but it starts out they're talking about porno.
Right.
You know, like they're and I was trying to watch it with my kids, and I was like, okay, stop. I forgot. Like I forgot.
16 Candles.
I haven't seen that in forever.
Same thing.
Is it really?
Yeah, she's all drunk at the end. He just gives her to the nerd.
Oh my god.
Take her, man. Do what you want.
There was so many movies like that.
Yeah.
I remember Animal House. That whole scene where the girl was out unconscious,
Right.
and he pulled her the stuffing out of her bra.
Right. Yeah, the
Yeah.
devil and the angel.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, not good. It doesn't hold up.
I mean, how many Judd Apatow movies that he put out would just never fly today? Never.
And that's not that long ago.
Not that. That's what my point is.
Yeah.
It's not that like Animal House was in the fucking what was that?
That was 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Apatow movies are in the 2000s.
Right. It's quick.
The invention of social media changed everybody's acceptance of what is
Yeah.
okay to joke around
Did
about.
you ever
Right.
see this movie? It came out. I was trying to figure out what it was called. It was in the background of the Ghislaine Maxwell photo. This photo thing, the movie poster was.
Uh-huh.
No, I didn't see it. Was it good?
It came out like 2 years ago. It's about a bunch of like young teen, probably 12, 10. It's irreverent as fuck. It's
Oh, yeah.
like, it's
Is it
it's
funny?
a dirty movie. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But I mean, it wasn't one of those things that you're like,
Good
oh my
boys.
god, you gotta go see it. Kind of. It
Oh.
didn't cross that level.
Right.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to make a comedy today, man. I mean,
Very
there's-
tricky.
Yeah, super tricky.
Yeah.
You have to dance a line, and then the studio would probably be like, ooh.
You'd have to really do it independently, probably.
Probably,
Right?
yeah. Like, if
Yeah.
you wanted to try to make, I mean, the thing about these comedies, it's not like you're endorsing this behavior. You're just saying that it's funny because people are fucked up.
And
right?
it's right. You're reflecting the people and
Yes.
how they talked and what they did.
Right, and you're showing people's flawed reactions to situations or flawed decision making,
Right.
and that's where the comedy is like, "Don't do that! Oh
Right.
my god!"
Right.
You know, and that's you don't
Yeah.
today. That stuff. It's like, what was the last good comedy movie that was released?
Bump, 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 bump.
It used to be you would be able to something about Mary,
Right.
You know, Kingpin. You could just snap them off.
No.
You knew where they were. It's like wokeness killed the comedy movie in a lot of ways.
It did. People, they're not making them.
What was the last great comedy movie?
The last Step Brothers?
No, there's been some other ones.
Since
What was the
then?
one where it was the end of the world? It was James Franco and Seth Rogen and the fucking volcanoes and shit was happening. And
What's the one where the house party goes out of control?
This is the end.
This is the end. This is
Oh,
the
This
end was
is the
good.
End?
What
yeah,
year was
it was
that?
good. I wouldn't
2013.
2013.
I wouldn't say great comedy.
But that's still 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that might be
Yeah.
that might be the last.
I know.
The last of the Mohicans.
Yeah, it's weird. What was the one where the house party goes out of control?
Project X.
Project X.
Do woke people make comedy? Is there a woke comedy movie? Is there even an attempt? Is there even an attempt at a politically correct comedy movie? Did it just stop making comedy movies?
They just stopped making them. But I mean, you could be super funny. You could make a great comedy.
For sure.
Without being rapey
Yeah.
and homophobic.
Yes.
Right, you
But
know
it's
what I
not
mean?
just that. It's like all abhorrent behavior.
Right.
Like it's not an endorsement. Like
Right.
if you have a movie,
Right.
here's an example of like American Psycho. American Psycho, you could do that movie today,
Mm-hmm.
and it wouldn't be an endorsement of a person who's a serial killer.
Right.
It would just be a film about a serial killer.
About a psycho.
But there's a weird thing that happens when you're making fun of something.
Mm-hmm.
When you're making fun of something, somehow or another, it's like supposedly an endorsement
Right.
of whatever that activity is, even
Right.
if it's like completely unacceptable.
Yeah.
Right?
But it's kind of like, yeah, but it's the real question is that a moment? Is this a moment? Because I know like really young people who think that whole thing went too far. Like they laugh at shit that's a little more irreverent.
That doesn't matter. What matters is if you did make that movie, the backlash would be absolutely real. Mm-hmm. People would go crazy.
Right.
But that's what they're afraid of. They're not
Right.
afraid of whether or not they'd have a market.
Right.
They would definitely have a market.
Yeah.
But how many people would get canceled because of it? How many people would get attacked because of it? How
Right.
bad would the studio get protested?
Right. Right. Well, then it
killed
comes down
comedy
to
movies.
it comes down to the math.
When was the last great comedy movie?
Yeah.
Where people were roaring in the movie theater and then they went to see it, and then they told everybody you got to go see it.
Yeah. It's weird that we can't. It's weird that we're struggling.
I'm 100% struggling.
Yeah.
Jamie, when was the last great comedy movie that you saw? You said Good Boys,
I mean, I just was throwing it out there. I would think wasn't. I never.
but like, what is another one?
Well,
It's like the genre has been murdered.
so I was trying to think
let's think
like
Kevin Hart. Let's
yeah,
think
there's
Will
a few movies
Ferrell.
like the Jumanji movies, sort of like.
Yeah, but those
Yeah.
are family friendly,
exactly,
man.
I know,
They're
so they kinda
family friendly.
crossed
They're
over.
great,
Funny though.
funny, great movies.
Really funny.
I love Jumanji. It was
Yeah.
great. I took my kids to see it. It
Yeah.
was fun.
Really
Deadpool had
funny.
a lot of comedy in it. The first
Deadpool?
No, Deadpool.
Deadpool.
'Cause
Yeah.
it was like, but that's
Yeah.
a superhero movie,
Right,
so I
right.
don't- it's
Deadpool
not
did.
really.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a comedy.
I know that's what I'm saying, so I wouldn't consider that really.
Yeah,
either.
it was a funny superhero movie.
Get Hard. Kevin Hart and Will Ferrell.
I didn't see that.
You know, like I'm just trying to think of the funny actors that have
Right.
been making the stuff, right?
But they make a lot of family friendly stuff now.
Yeah.
Which you can kind of
Well-
do still.
Hangover,
Okay.
right? That
Yeah.
was like the last, and that's why it exploded because it
Yeah,
was
right.
an R-rated.
Same year though for Hangover 3, 2013. So like I'm
That was
trying, I'm
was
trying
three.
Hangover
to,
3?
I'm trying to find anything
Wow.
since then, and there's not a lot since 2014, 15, 16. There's a few of those like
Amazing.
family friendly comedies
Bro,
that pop
they
up.
murdered the comedy movie.
Yeah.
But wasn't that also one of the first ones to go rated R? Like that was a big deal because it was a rated
Hangover.
top rated rated R
Yeah.
comedy movie.
I
Of all
guess,
time,
but
it broke the
Superbad
record.
was R too.
But it wasn't as top rated
Hang-
as The Hangover was.
Hangover exploded.
Hangover was a
big.
that was a spectacular success.
Yeah. Yeah. You could make Hangover today.
Could you though?
I think so.
What was in it that you couldn't do?
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and watch it. Sometimes I forget like how crazy those movies are. So
Yeah.
go back and watch them again.
Yeah. I think you can make Hangover today. You can make it, but I think people are scared. I think people are scared of making, like the studio's scared.
Oh, they would go over that script with a fine tooth comb.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Different
Like
parameter.
Mike Tyson showed back up. Remember? Like he was.
Yeah.
Where's oh shit, Mike Tyson.
Yeah, I remember
when
he's-
Zach blew
when,
up.
It was Phil Collins. I can coming in the air. Yeah, that was fun. That was a great movie. What else? What
Yeah.
was the other? Was the next movie like that?
That was that
like
big.
Google.
The Jackass
Oh, I've
movies.
been looking. I'm deep in like the highest grossing comedies, the top like from the last 20 years, 10 years.
What
I'm
do
trying
they
to figure out
have?
how to like
Even
look.
Google can't figure it
They're
out.
That's what I
all
was saying.
kids'
So like
movies.
it's like for top grossing comedies of the last 10 years, of the 2010s. The top 2, that's just there, count Jumanji. The Hangovers are in there. Ted. Men in Black 3. Both Deadpools. 22 Jump Street. Sequel to 21 Jump Street. So that's why I was like, these are...
Yeah,
I
Jonah
movies
Hill.
I didn't see to compete and be like, yeah, this is on my list.
Oh,
Yeah.
what was the Wolf of Wall Street? That was a kind of a comedy, right?
Yeah, kind
But
of.
that's like, and didn't Scorsese make that? Who made that? You know what I mean?
Wasn't it a comedy though?
Adam McKay.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's also 2013.
Wow.
So it's like the end.
2013.
It's the end of it.
That was the end.
Yeah, that
Maybe
was
the Mayans
end.
were right. December 21st, 2012.
Yeah, and now all we're watching is human sacrifices.
December 21st, 2000. Wasn't that what it was?
Yeah, 21st.
21st, 2012. Yeah, that's what they predicted. The end of the long count. Yeah. Man,
Yeah, wild.
it's crazy.
Yeah, they'll come back.
I don't know about that.
I think they will.
I don't know about that because you need a lot of money to make a movie.
Well, that's the problem too. It's also a film thing.
Yeah.
It's also, I mean, if you talk to people that are just into the business of making movies, even dramas, like the number of films that are made now that are financed by the studios is so small compared to what it was.
But you have to also think that COVID must have put a giant dent in the movie business because you couldn't go to the movies anymore.
And it was vulnerable right before that. And the DVD market fell out. And then COVID. This is like rough time to make like those just good middle of,
Yeah.
$20 million movies. It's all superhero giganto movies or the really small movies that people don't see, where the streamers are starting to put them out, like Adam McKay's Don't Look Up, and you know what I mean?
didn't see that.
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, what's
and funny.
interesting now is like the best things that you can watch, like in terms of like the depth of character and the script writing, is television shows. Mm-hmm. Television shows are amazing now. Like if you watch Ozark,
Right.
Ozark is basically like how many episodes are they into now? They're on season 4.
Yeah.
So it's like, whatever the fuck it is, a 50-hour,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
it's a 50-hour movie.
Right.
Like it's crazy.
I know.
Like you're watching these people grow up.
Yeah.
You're watching this family. Do you watch it?
Yeah.
The new season's insane.
I haven't seen it.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then the new second part of the new season, they're ramping it up for this.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think starts in April sometime. I think it starts in the end of April.
Right.
It's gonna be amazing.
Well. Yeah, that's where that's where it gets made.
Yeah.
Last Stranger Things is going to come out.
Yeah.
You can make comedies if you set them in the 80s.
Right.
When people were shitty and funny to each other.
Even then, man.
Then
Even then.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
You'd have to. The comedy has to be in a guy who's like. You have to make fun of someone who's an absolute piece of shit, right? And then there's funny in that because it's like there's a villain. You can't have funny in like a broken lead character.
Right. Yeah, he's got to be an asshole, a socially outcast.
Because movies like they have statements now, like that it's not as simple as just have a funny movie. It has to,
Yeah.
yeah,
Let's make one.
please. That's the last thing you want to do.
Could you imagine?
Imagine amount of fucking time.
Oh, my God.
And then if it bombs, you gave up a year and a half of your life. Like,
Yeah.
I just don't have a desire.
Yeah.
Stand up is fun enough.
I know.
It's the most fun.
I know. It's pure.
Yeah, it's so fun.
And so many more laughs out of a stand-up act than a movie.
I actually
What?
just thought of one. I'm looking through comedies coming up. This seems like it would be a good comedy, potentially. This movie that Nicolas Cage is in about himself,
Oh,
sort
yeah.
of.
Nick Cage is Nick Cage or something.
The unbearable weight of massive talent.
I remember watching the trailer. It's like the story is a really rich guy hires Nick Cage to come and be like at his birthday party, and then he flies him. He's like, "Hey Nick, you need $1 million, right?" His like agent calls him. He's like, "Yeah, I'll take the $1 million. What do I got to do? Go show up at a party?" And then a bunch of crazy shit happens.
Oh, okay.
Gotta
Good.
love Nick Cage.
They can
Tiffany
still do
Haddish
it.
is in it.
Yeah.
Oh,
So like,
it can still be done.
Like
But
Barinholtz.
potentially, yeah. So we'll see.
Tiffany Haddish with a bold move to shave her head, isn't it?
Yeah.
Such a bold move.
She's
She looks good
bold.
though.
Yeah, she
Looks
does look good.
She can pull it off.
She looks really good.
Tom Papa, tell everybody where you're doing your fucking hee-hees and ha-has.
I'm touring all over the country. The tours, I've been on 16 flights in the last 2 weeks.
Whoa. Really?
Yeah, I've been everywhere. I'm cranking it out. Go to tompapa.com. You can look it up. I've got a big show in Vegas on May 6th at the Wynn.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to be at the
Look at that.
Borgata.
Look at all those little spots on the map. Look at you fucking traveling fool.
I'm all over. I'm touring
Woo.
like crazy.
Yeah, you are, dude.
Fargo, North Dakota.
Are you going anywhere you haven't done before?
Yeah, this weekend I'm going to be in Great Barrington, Mass. and Reading, Pennsylvania. I haven't performed there.
Barrington, Massachusetts?
Yeah,
Where
up by
the
the Berkshires.
fuck is that?
By the Berkshires.
Wow.
And then I've got
Is that Western Massachusetts? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
It's like near New York State, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What's out there?
Some little theater.
They found you and they dragged you out
They
there?
dragged me, and that's where I'm going on Thursday.
Bro.
And then down to Reading, Pennsylvania. And then
Connecticut. You're doing Connecticut, huh?
and then
Big mistake.
Nashville. Yeah, the big one is Vegas. I've got a big show in Vegas. I just started. I did my first one at the Wynn at the Encore Theater.
I've heard that's an awesome
I
spot.
love it.
I was there staying there a few months ago, and I saw the theater. The theater's gorgeous.
Going back to Cleveland.
May 6th is the Encore Theater. Nice.
Yeah, I'm cranking out.
Nice.
Then a whole bunch of stuff in the
Nice.
fall. Just keep on going.
The Paramount, Huntington, New York. Hilarities in Cleveland. Great club.
Breaking Bread podcast. It's all happening, kids.
All right, it's all happening, motherfuckers.
We can still make comedies.
Yes. Tom Papa.
So good to see you, Joe.
I love you, buddy.
There's an olive loaf and a regular loaf.
Thank you. Thank you, my friend.
See you soon, buddy.
You're the best. Goodbye, ladies and gentlemen.
Until next time.